Welcome back to Undying Winds, session number 18, No Place Like Home. Last session, the group ended up in a strange, weird wilderness and found a tower where a strange, matronly woman of advanced years um, basically invited them into their house. Villette, taking no time and effort to just change the entire nature and scope of the situation, shut the door, which sent the tower careening off into a different place in the world, as it's a temporally locked and spatially locked place that emanates from a different plane of existence entirely. When they opened the door, they saw the sands of Einkarn, foreign lands in the middle of the continent of ENA, and a huge, just jet black ziggurat, or pyramid rather. Actually, it's not a ziggurat; it's a pyramid. It's soft, or it's got the smooth sides. Off there in the distance, and she yelled, "Shut the door! Shut the door!" again. And when they did, they ended up somewhere arguably worse, but apparently nicer for her, I guess. But they didn't open the door to see what was beyond. Some work was done by Sam to figure out how to get from there to anywhere else, and magic ensued. Um, Same patterns that were seen inside of the Pyramid of Souls, the one that was buried beneath the city. Who's doing it? There was a cackling. Anyway, the Pyramid of Souls, and they used those markings and the places they could remember to try and find a way back home. Some exploration was had. They ended up in some strange lair of some cultist that was eternally bound in blood. They found a farmhouse outside of Old Heisrick, the capital of Jernaris, where the conglomerate reigned. And they saw something else. I don't remember. Eventually, they got home, and once they arrived there, they start the session here. The moment that you do arrive, though, Sam kind of shuts his books and kind of closes off his, himself and says, "I've got something to study. And some things I got to do in the city. I'll be seeing you. I'll be back." And here hands someone, the closest person to him, it doesn't matter who, a short-range communication device. If you already have one, he just tells you his signal and heads out.
All right. I actually already have one, so I'll say, keep it. What signal you using?
Yeah, what's your digits? And he
All right.
translates.
Cool.
And you are separated from Sam. Sam leaves the party. You're in the
Ren
basement.
turns to Gilbert and says, "I've never heard Sam that polite before."
That's true. Something must be troubling him.
Mm-hmm.
Something serious. Oh well. Maybe he'll tell us when he's ready.
Mm.
Anyways, it's nice to be home, huh? So what's it like when we show up? Are we in the basement then?
You're in the basement, yeah. That's where the circle. It's the same circle that you found in the basement. So it's a multi-purpose magic circle. It can be used to key to that strange Nistel's magic aura permanent marking in that room. It can be used as this magic or teleportation circle, which you figured out as you started to learn the nature of that magic. And it also has other purposes that kind of empower your stronghold abilities. So it's a very
I
ancient
like
circle.
to reclaim my old bedroom, Gilbert. That's okay.
Yeah, let's go check the house.
Okay. As you're heading
does it
up,
appear any gnomes are around?
no, you're in the basement. You move out past the casks. It doesn't look like the guards that were placed down here and were sleeping down here. Their stuff seems to have been removed, but everything else looks the same. As you're kind of moving towards the staircase to head up into the house, the door that heads to the outside, you start hearing a scratching sound on the door, the wooden door.
All right, then I guess I would go get it.
Okay.
And
When you open the door, a gray cat
Yeah.
with a bobtail just charges past you and rushes into the room and starts running up the stairs into the living room. As you kind of
Hey,
look
wait.
past the cat and then kind of stop for a second, Your perception's good enough that you start careening back to look out the door, and the tower's sitting in your yard.
Oh shit. The tower
Oh,
came to my yard. That's not
okay.
good.
So the lady's in the tower.
Vrak's gonna look to Gilbert and say, extra property. Does that raise the value of this lot or does it lower? I don't know.
Taxes might go up.
Right.
Well, let's think of it as
For a
a.
tribal outlander, I respect your real estate agent technique.
Well, unfortunately, it doesn't raise the value of the property, but I think we can use it to travel. That's a positive, I guess.
So if we open the door, we would have already been here.
It's possible.
I don't know. I'm not sure how it followed us. That's some crazy magic. I don't know.
Be helpful if we had a wizard here to figure that one out, brother.
Yeah. Do you guys want to hop in it and see if we can travel somewhere? But I'm wondering what shape are you guys in?
Gilbert, well, one, we have the whole returning to the prince,
Oh yeah.
and what we're going to do about the package on my back. Do we bring
Yep.
it with us? Do we leave it here?
She says, as screaming siphons into her brain a bit. She's just
I
like,
say we
"Can we
leave
get
it
rid
here,
of this?
but
Can we get rid of this? Please."
You got a safe place to keep that, brother?
you have to hide it inside the house. That's about all I know.
We might as well put it in that circle, right? Or at least in that area.
We could hide it behind some, like in that secret hiding place down in the basement. You know, where you have to move some like wine
Where you just came out of.
casks and stuff,
Yeah.
beer casks.
Yes, that I thought that would be a good place to put it. Yes, if we put it anywhere.
You think it's safe, brother? It's your call to make. That's a pretty important magic-eel item there.
Brox, what do you have to say about this? What are your thoughts?
I think we should report to the prince immediately. Let him know about what's her face is income.
But should we leave the sword here or bring it with us? I fear he will want the sword, and I do not want to unleash this upon him.
Well, it's not like we won't be able to really lie to him and tell him that we didn't get.
I
The
think
dwarf has a point.
Well, that's true. I was saying we'd leave it out.
Well,
Of our
I think we report about the sword, but there may be, if the sword is there, we have less breathing room to try and persuade him that it's best to be sealed away somewhere, as opposed to handed right to him and force him to bear its burden.
Alright, so everybody think about who's making the suggestion. Take that into account. I'm not trying to force your hand or anything, but, you know, come over to
What about that
Do
wizard
wanna-
brother with his secret clan of thieves and things? Do you think they'd have like a safe place for items since they, like steal that stuff and sort of do that like as their jobs and stuff?
Hell
You
yeah.
know?
Hell yeah, that's a
What?
great idea.
Why? Since he's like the leader of that group and they need to listen to him now. Yeah,
I'm on
and
board.
we could
Yes.
use your little walkie-talkie thingy there.
I
Get
wasn't,
his attention, brother.
I wasn't planning for that suggestion at all, but now it's all I can think about.
It's a great suggestion, right?
Good idea. I don't think that's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's the best idea Vrax had.
I agree.
It's a Valette level idea.
Yeah.
I agree with Tim that I want to keep an eye on this, but I think that the idealists hiding it could also be a good idea. I know the Gentleman's Society is hiding some real relics, like some of that real stuff, but at the same time, I don't want to hand it over to them either.
Just keep getting better and better.
No,
always
we
leave
know
Valette
the leader
behind.
of the idealists. We're not in as close with the Gentleman's Society. The idealists are the only ones that Vrock would consider simply because Sam is their leader.
We could
Just
leave the
because
left
Sam's
behind.
not here, they also seem like one of the more weaker gangs, though. That means maybe the Night Sharks could just run them over at any time.
And take it.
That would concern, yes.
I bet their clan's got a lot more defenses than this here house does.
I agree.
It's arguable.
And I sure as hell don't trust the little blue people to keep an eye on things. No offense, Gilbert. Your family's horrible.
Oh my god.
Well, Gilbert, we were running out of funds, so we found this shabby old sword in the corner. So we took it and sold it.
Oh
We
man.
didn't think you mind.
Made a
That
sweet
would've
20
been a great
gold!
episode, though.
It
Look
ended
at
up
that
with
whole
the Thieves
episode.
Guild anyway.
Oh
My cat's just watching and just, this is great.
Oh. my
Me
god.
eh.
She loves it.
All right. Also, I heard what you said there, Andy, or I should say Andy. Heard what you said, Ren, about leaving Valette here to guard the sword. I don't think that's a good idea either. Let's all just go together.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess I was just thinking about Valette's trouble with things that come out of her
Words.
mouth.
She could just maybe not talk a lot. Maybe we could.
Yeah, that's a
ask her to
problem,
not
too.
say much.
I might be able to talk Rassican into just letting us keep the sword. I'm not sure how they'll feel about it. But
I think it'll
the
be a lot easier to have that conversation if we don't have the sword on us.
Alright,
Yeah.
let's just communicate.
Tap, 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 tap on the wooden door that you're near. Hey, did you see?
It's that lady.
Did you see Henry run in here? He just ran right out the door.
Yes, he ran upstairs to the living room.
He's probably eaten all your food. Okay, well, you tell him he's not welcome back after what he did. No. Just wanders away. And then she stops. Is that wine you got there in those barrels?
It is.
No.
Help yourself.
How about well, okay, let's go.
Oh
She,
my god.
she walks over and you see her kind of move her hands, and then this huge hand of force just grabs a hold of one of the barrels and starts lifting it, and she starts walking back out the door with this floating hand kind of following behind her with the barrel in it.
You
Thanks!
gonna be around?
Well, yeah, you kind of locked me in this place for a while, yeah? Because
Got lots of wine.
points at Valette. Her shenanigans. Closing
You had
doors.
asked me to shut the door. I apologize. I didn't realize the shenanigans that would incur after shutting your door for you.
I didn't say
What
shut the
happened if we
door.
left the sword in
Yes,
that,
you
in that
did.
tower?
That's the only reason why I touched it.
I didn't say that.
You
I
said
don't
shut the
remember
door. Don't
that.
let him in.
No, I said,
You said
don't
shut
let
the door.
him
Don't
in.
let him in.
What? Well, I don't remember. I'm old. Walks away. Hand of force just.
Oh no. You guys thought the gnomes were bad. Now we have like old drunk woman living next to
She's
us.
not drunk
this is
yet.
gonna be a lot worse.
Give her
She
time.
will be.
I
Very
think
drunk.
personally it's gonna work out a lot better.
You guys are so hateful for gnomes.
So I'll give Sam a ring
Okay.
on the communicate.
He doesn't pick up.
Just like
Sounds like something Matt would do.
Mayhaps we could ask our new tenant if I might stay within her tower while you go meet with, well, I guess the king now, or the crown prince, and that way the sword isn't within line of sight, and you can try and negotiate something wise to be done with the sword.
And you can make sure the door isn't closed and the tower stays put.
Well, worst case, I could close it, and then whoever comes after me can't have it. Though I don't know how I'll get back to you.
Lady brother makes a good point.
I could stay with Valette. If it's up to you guys.
You said you might be able to convince Rastican, so maybe we need you.
I think king to a king's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Sir Brack.
So let me know
Right.
what you're doing.
Damn straight, brother.
Alright, guys, I would rather us all go together because after the experience of being attacked by gangs, that's not cool. So if we're all together, at least we're all together. You know, what if we leave Valette here and then some people from the Kangos show up and then rush him and take the sword or whatever.
I believe they're looking for you, not me.
Yeah, that's true, but you're a known associate of mine, so
I'll just point them the direction you went and let them have at it. I doubt they'll be able to. Well, I doubt they'd be foolish enough to make an assault on the king's castle
that's true.
or the king's keep.
All right, you really don't want to go to speak with the king?
It is.
or-
It is not about what I want to do, but what I think may be best. We all know that I've made a lot of mistakes recently, purposefully or not, and I'm trying to avoid any happening again. I think it's a
that's
mistake
wise.
to bring the sword with you.
All right.
But is it more of a mistake to leave you alone?
With a teleporting tower?
I don't know what's the bigger mistake, lady brother. I just don't.
I promise I will try not to shut the door unless I'm in immediate threat of someone taking the sword.
That's a pretty big asterisk there, lady brother.
Well, I wouldn't want it to get into the wrong hands.
All right.
If I mean, we can just see how it plays, or I could leave the sword in the tower and shut the door behind me,
Who's to say
and then we.
they're not already? Or it's not already in the wrong hands. You never thought about that, did you?
Oh,
Gilbert,
right.
why don't you position your guards around the tower to help Villette protect it?
Why don't you just stay in the house?
You see,
Or you'd rather go in the tower, huh?
outside someone's conversing with the old lady, and then she kind of turns and looks, not the old lady, but the person conversing with her, kind of turns and looks into the door and sees you there, kind of looks at you curiously. It's Aya, the drow archer from your guard.
Right, okay. I'll go talk to her then.
She kind of walks over to you, my lord. Nice new addition. I suppose she's a welcome guest, or are we to deal with her?
Well, unfortunately, she is a welcome guest.
Unfortunately, she is a
I-
welcome guest. I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah.
understand. That's fine.
Uh,
A bit
These
more.
Well,
words.
I think we need to treat her with respect as a guest, even though, her showing up here was an accident. But we'll have to figure out a way to get her to leave. So,
If that is your wish. Your family has made their way to the lands of Lord Rassicant. I believe he accompanied them as well. You've been gone for about a 6th day, so it's pretty impressive to make it all the way to where you were headed, if you made it all that way, and returned with a tower no less. So, congratulations.
there was some crazy magic involved, but, sometimes that happens.
It appears to be the norm for you and your friends. We will continue to watch the house. We will make sure that the tower is also included in the security detail. Nods her head,
All right.
kind of walks over to the balcony, climbs her way back up, and starts talking to the other guards.
All right. So, are you guys okay to head over to the King's now, or do you want to wait another day for some reason?
See no reason to delay that conversation, brother. Let's get on the road.
I agree.
All right. Sounds good then. I'm all right with that too. So it looks like we're headed off. I guess we're leaving Villette since she doesn't want to screw things up, but
Try to play smart. Villette wants to be a big girl.
I don't understand why you haven't figured whatever you choose, I'm just going to make it the thing that's bad.
yeah.
I know.
Nothing is gonna happen here at my
It's on the
house.
worst-
I'm worried you're gonna burn the place down.
You know
or
that.
something.
I was ready to give you the fucking sword right to the the fucking idealists. I was there. I was all for it. You're the one who didn't answer the page.
Yeah, I don't. I don't
Metagame,
like the
dude.
idea.
You bet. The king turns into a pile of sand and floats away with a sword.
Yeah.
Okay, so Vlett stays at the house, and everyone else goes down to Alderac. Okay, great. As you approach, It's spring now. It's our very early spring. You can see that banners are kind of flying outside of Alderac in the spring breeze, fluttering about all different colors and shades. You've been here for a couple of seasons, Gilbert. You would recognize that this basically means that they are signs of welcome. It would appear that several lordly houses have probably been invited, and they're making sure that their invitations are noted as welcoming. You see several different banners, a couple of the Oltania Rus, but you do not see the banner of House Oltan. It seems to be missing from the grouping. The most stark and kind of like double take flag that you see is your own, kind of sitting there in a pretty decent place of honor compared to the other lot, fluttering in the breeze with the icon of the Kurgosler clan. And yeah, you head towards Alderac's gates and are welcomed in. You head into the main portion of the castle and attempt to seek admittance. You start speaking to some of the clerks. The others look very bored. And after about an hour and a half or so, you're able to even, with that amount of time, you're able to finally just get the opportunity to ask for an audience. And it seems like a lot of people are kind of stone on, like, kind of cold shouldering you and trying to kind of keep everything with you under wraps so other people aren't asking questions about what you're talking about. Like they're not trying to get too much attention to the matters that you're going to be discussing. Eventually, though, a attendant is kind of taken on by a familiar face. She just kind of strides over, seeing you, points at the clerk and says, "Quickly," and kind of and quietly, and kind of focuses in on them. You recognize her as the captain of the guard and the honor guard of the king. I got it right here. Matilda Vothan. Did you see the bloody judge out on the road when you were out and about in the Oltania Rus? She asks, is the very first question she asks of you.
Unfortunately not. We did not run across him or his contingent, but we kind of got diverted from our original course. But that's kind of a long story, and I don't want to go into it right now.
It's been suggested that he's entered into the Forbidden Forests in the center of the Misty Wood, the Veiled Wood. So we do not know what his purpose for that entry is, but him and his forces have disappeared from our sight. We must have you speak to the prince as soon as possible. Where is the king?
Well, I'd rather speak to the prince about that. What?
Zach.
We'd like to address that with the prince, if you don't mind, the lady.
Cuts Gilbert off saying the same thing.
Yeah,
right.
Once I sit, yeah.
It's great minds.
Good job, buddy.
She kind of looks to you. I am his most trusted advisor at this point.
And it's his choice whether he shares it with you or not.
She kind of looks to Ren and kind of shrugs.
Ren nods in support of Brock.
Yep, she kind of shrugs. So be it.
I'm wearing it on my face. I'm sad, Brock's.
Clark, do your best. Do your best with your abilities. I apologize. I have other matters I need to attend to. So if you need my clearance or anything, I won't be available. She looks at Ren, just annoyed, and walks away.
Have
The
no
clerk goes, wait.
Like art.
The clerk's like, oh, wait. Oh, this is going to take a while. He says as he looks to the papers. Gilbert, if you want to assist him in the bureaucracy portions, you can go ahead and make an intelligence history check. or you can make a resources roll.
Make a tax preparation check, Gilbert.
You sons of bitches! I might want to leave you guys and make you wait, just to make you guys pay. But I'm not going to.
This
I'll
is
check.
what you get for making fun of my paperwork.
That's right. All right, so I'll do a resources check. I think. Wait a
Yep.
minute. What type of check is that? This
Should
is
say in the
resources.
description. Wisdom, insight.
Oh, that's if you need something. Okay, wisdom insight.
Well, you need something.
Yeah, you're right. I do. So, wait, is that wisdom proficiency then? I'm just gonna. I think that's what it is.
Yep. Should be.
Boom. Oh, nice roll, guys.
All right.
22.
22 is pretty solid. You start kind of like looming over the shoulders of this individual as best you can, being a gnome, and kind of start seeing what he's going for and engaging in. You're like, no, that's all wrong. And you start kind of focusing in on the process and like engaging in it to a point where you start to take control of the clerk's job and just basically utilize him for his signature and his stamp seal. And then once you're done with him, you dispose of the clerk like he's nothing. Everyone watching your prowess and like engaging in the law and formatting to where you need to be. And the next thing you know, the people who are underneath Matilda, her guard, are standing with you out front of the large doors to the throne room. The gentleman who was a part of the guard, Malik Brighton, who you recall being in the honor guard of the King Amfred, kind of stands there to look at you all, and then just quietly kind of leans in and says, I've heard that the king did not live. Is that correct? If you don't feel it necessary to tell me, I need to know for the sake of my position here.
I think some messages need to go directly to the highest people first.
Apologies
So-
for my impertinence. I just simply wish to finalize the process. That is all. He kind of looks to the doors, kind of waits. It seems like after he asked that question, it was kind of rebuffed. His demeanor has taken on more of like a sad countenance, and you can kind of see that it looks like he's kind of going through his mind, thinking. After a fashion, you sitting there, the doors open up. You can see the loom of the barrier between, and you see another familiar face exiting out of the doors. An older woman wearing white robes with a staff, being followed behind by a very large Goliath bodyguard, kind of walking out to you and goes, "Oh, I remember you." Starts walking fast. Business with the prince.
Yes,
Didn't-
hello.
Weren't you
We
supposed to
seem
be
to
throwing a party a couple days ago?
Well, that is true. The rumors are true on that, and that will happen.
Well, what happened? Is it postponed or something?
Yeah, it had to be postponed, but
How rude.
How come?
You didn't send any messages saying that you were going to postpone that party.
Yes, that is true.
I had my
Sometimes
hopes up for meeting with you, and unfortunately, the now late Dougal Brandt. Is that why you postponed the party? His death?
actually, I had not heard that yet. What happened?
He was murdered in his house by assassins. Seems like he'd been
That's
dead in his house
troubling.
for several days, and they had taken his place inside of the castle for
Ooh.
a few days.
You associated with any thieves guild?
I do not. No, I'd hope not. No lordly folk should be.
No, the assassins.
Oh, I didn't ask too much about them. They haven't been caught, the brigands. But I presume they will be, especially if our honor god has anything to say about it. Looks to Malik, who kind of looks at her, kind of like nods his head, but then kind of goes back to looking off and being really just melancholy. It's the best way to describe his current attitude. She says, "Well, this is a dour subject matter. It's not something I'd like to discuss yet. If you would want to discuss more enlivening conversations and maybe get some help planning your party so it doesn't fall apart at the end, I'd be more than willing to meet with you." Just have them send a message over to my home. Genovese Manor. She turns and walks away. The guard kind of walks past, not really recognizing anybody, I think, here. But yeah, leaves.
Yeah,
The doors are open to you. Malik kind of nods his head. Ready?
we're ready.
Let us go in. Steps inside, bringing everyone, halting Ren, of course, because he's not nobility. As that's happening, though, you see the prince's hand kind of raise up. All of them. And the
Nice.
the knight kind of turns and looks back at Ren. Come. As you step in, the doors start closing. The prince looks over to Ren and says, "I understand that this is the first time a non-noble of blood has ever entered into Alderec's throne room that was not charged as a defender and was not invited directly."
Ren arches his eyebrow up. It looks kind of like a slight smirk.
You enter upon your own free will, elf, so do not feel it necessary to hold your tongue. And in that matter, the prince kind of looks to you all. What of my father?
Well, Prince, I thought it was best if we told you this directly and right away. We've just gotten back from our trip there, which took some strange turns, but to make a long story short, when we were on our trip heading toward the Bloody Duchess, she actually came upon us on our camp, at our camp, and she, at first we thought she was attacking us, but it ended up she just wanted to talk. And what she did was she told us that your father,
You
the
held your
king-
blade, he says really quick. You stopped engaging her?
Yes, it was kind of an interesting thing, and she actually sued for parley. So, being the being the polite person I am, I decided to listen to her.
You were charged with one task, the recovery of my father. So I will not dance around the subject matter, and I do not care about what you say. So I'm going to ask this question again. And I will ask you for more details if I feel it necessary. But to start, what has befallen King Amfred Rostagar?
We believe that he has been killed.
Believe?
We do not believe. We know his body rests at Altania Ruse.
You've
my lord.
seen it with your own eyes?
We have not seen it, but we've
That's-
seen his weapon.
Where is it?
We have it in our possession, my lord.
Show me.
I didn't say it was with us. I said it was in our
Cut
possession.
Cut the scene.
God.
Colette, you're
No!
You're back at home.
This
They're
we
all
should've
just
brought
leaving.
that
They're all
real.
exiting out. You've got the sword on your back. Do you deposit it into the magic circle and leave it there? Do you go with it somewhere else? What are you doing?
I seek out Miss Dro lady, who seems somewhat knows what she's doing with the guard.
Yeah.
And what was
I
her
believe
name?
that's dark-skinned lady, brother.
Aya. A-Y-A.
Aya. Aya, would you mind assisting me in setting up a defensive perimeter? We have a very sensitive package that Lord Kurgazler wants me to look over while he's with.
The guard is out doing its business. There's already a defensive perimeter as best you can receive it. If your charge is inside of the house, it's as protected as it can be by us.
Where would be the best place to situate myself? Guard this.
Wherever you like inside of the home, if you're that concerned and paranoid about it, probably not somewhere near a window.
All right.
The basement, I guess?
I
The
shall.
secret chamber that you and your friends seem very fond of? You know the one
Yes,
with the magic
we-
circle on the ground?
We do frequent quite
Jesus.
Fair enough.
Please send word if anything vicious be going on.
Of
Right.
course.
And Bulette goes and keeps the sword on her person at all time, bearing the insanity that it's slowly driving her towards, and just stands in the center of the circle and shield and judgment ready to go in case something happens.
Being alone and in this quiet space with no one talking, no other swords present, you kind of hear this kind of distant kind of sound, as if someone's kind of trying to speak to you through water. And it sounds familiar, but you're not sure who it might be. But the thing that you're hearing the most, the thing that's kind of buffeting out all the other sounds, is the tortured agony of who you presume to be King Amfred inside of the Black Blade. And it's notching at your soul, and it's kind of tearing down at you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm good at these. And that is a 30.
Wisdom saving throw?
Yes. I have plus 11 and I rolled a 19.
It's really good.
Nailed.
Nailed it.
You kind of enter into yourself for a time, just kind of focus in on you and not really anything else, and just kind of stay kind of focused. The screaming goes just null, like it's quiet. You don't hear anything beyond that, and you can start to hear the voice coming from the other side. There are others. There are others. There are so many others. And it sounds like they're trying to yell at you to get to you. As you kind of try and reply in your mind and focus on the voice, you realize it is Hawk that's kind of speaking to you. But it seems that the Black Blade is kind of buffering both ways. It's kind of blocking the soul. But the thing that you keep hearing him kind of say to you, there are others. There are others. There are others. Back to the throne room. He says, then go retrieve it.
Why?
My father's dead, and the only relic that you have to prove that that's the case. The sword that he would relinquish to no one. You say you keep outside of the possession of his house. Why wouldn't I ask for it? The door slams open. Because you shouldn't have it. And Rasikant kind of is breezing through the courtroom, walking in. I apologize for my tardiness. I only just returned back from my lands, seating up your people. Good Lord Kurgosler looks up to the prince. You shouldn't have it. The prince kind of taken aback. I will throw you out with them as well, and then I will send my guards to retrieve the blade. Tell me why I shouldn't. Rasikant kind of looks up. I don't need to explain something to a child that should seem so obvious to someone who's learned. They steer to keep you clear of the corruption inside of that blade. Am I not wrong?
Brack nods.
My prince, the blade is under demonic influence. It's what led your father to his fate. The only reason we kept it back was to protect you from that same fate.
Rasikant kind of looks to Broxgar and kind of gives you a nod. The prince kind of looks like he's taking the words you're speaking into account. Go ahead and finish your sentence.
Your father was one of the greatest men this realm has ever seen, and it did terrible things to his mind. Surely you can't be so brazen to think that you're stronger than him.
No, I don't think that's the case.
The Duchess has offered you to go and retrieve his body if you'd like, Malish. We just didn't have the means to bring it back ourselves.
Fair enough. He kind of looks meek, kind of looks to Rasikant, who's just kind of taken up the room presence-wise. And he lowers his head. The prince. and then after a fashion kind of lifts it back up. What should we do with it then, if it's possessed by a demon or has some sort of vile influence?
If I may, my lord, and I'm actually gonna take a knee in front of him. If you'd please, I'd like you to entrust its care to me and my friends here. We are possibly the most informed on these special items, and we'd like to try to cleanse your father's
He
blade.
cuts you off with Elvish and speaks to Rasikant. Those of you who understand Elvish hear him clearly. Is this regarding the matter that he spoke to them at the breakfast? Rasikant says, I believe so, my lord. The young lad kind of scratches his head a bit more. Before he disappeared, he had said that the fall of the tower of the conglomerate was the darkest day in the history of this kingdom. And he had one chance to right what was done that day. And then he disappeared. He must have headed to the west. There must have been something to him going to the Altania Rus to be taken captive, for her to send that message, for her to break off my wedding arrangement with the elves. There's something deeper here. Rasikant, in your honest opinion, with the same care and grace you gave to my father, do you think allowing this sword to stay in their care is right? Yes, my lord. So be it. The Black Blade of the good King Rostagar, the slayer of the dragons of the Dragon Isles, is in your charge. If it is purified, it is to be returned to this place. Lord Kurgosler, I spoke unkindly when you had mentioned that you had not done the one deed I sent you to do. Obviously, it is a much more complicated matter than I initially presumed. Do not take any slight. There will be no repercussions for you failing in your charge.
Thank you. I do not take any offense to what you said. I realize that the weight of leadership is great, and I think you are doing a great job, and you are making wise decisions here, and we will do our best to find how to cleanse this sword and return it to your household.
Very well.
Ren says you might learn more about these matters when the Hiltania Duchess comes to Rastagar in 6 days. Is that what it is now? Is it still 6 days?
Well, you didn't spend much time zipping it on and about. So yeah, about the same.
As she said she would.
What does she wish to speak to me about?
I can't hear you.
What does she wish to speak to me about?
She did not say.
I suppose we'll raise the banner. He looks over to Rasikant, who moves back a little bit, makes some gestures towards the door opens, and then in Elvish he yells back to them, raise the Oltan banner, and they quickly understand what happens, the doors close. Anything else you wish to discuss with me?
I would just say, as I'm sure you know, and your wise advisor, Rasik, I'm sure you know that I just don't trust the Altania Ruse, and I would say be very wary when she shows up. Be on your guard.
You could have spared me the trouble of being defensive by slaying her.
Well,
If I may, my liege, frankly, I disagree with my little blue brother over here. I think you should keep your mind open when you have your conversation with the Duchess, sir. I think it's only fair you grant her the same respect that you've granted the rest of your subjects.
She may also have information about these esper edges, is what we're calling them. The items with the demonic influence.
Very good. I will be cautious, and I will be mindful. And I will take the words of both of you into account.
I think my friends would all agree it's smart to keep your friends close and your enemies closer, eh, Malish?
I don't know about all of that. We'll see how it goes. I need time to think. Rossicant, if you could please see them out. Of course, my liege. Turns and starts walking towards the door, trying to keep close to Broxgar as he does so. Doesn't look like pleasantries are being passed about, and Rossicant doesn't even bow on his way out. The prince up on the throne doesn't seem to care about those slights.
On our way out, I'll say to Raskin that I'm sorry we weren't quick.
No, it's fine. I had a feeling that would end up being the case. You saw her?
Oh, yes.
Is she as it is presumed? Is she a child of Vaticus? Is she a child of Lovacus Lord, the Parasite King?
Indeed, she is. How old is she? Do you have any idea?
She's reigned in the Otania Rus since the shame was unleashed upon the North.
Yeah, I believe she's from the remnants of the old Crimson.
Crimson Coven. That is not. She doesn't take very many visitors, so it's been very near impossible to determine her nature. Some thought she was elf-blooded. Some thought she was in league with daemons. I guess it's somewhere in between.
Just a lot of that these days.
Yeah, apparently so. So, turning back as the doors close behind you all, turning back and looking to Gilbert, I made sure your family's safe. It seems the next load of them is incoming, according to your grandfather? Uncle? I don't...
Grandfather.
Of course. Apologies. There's so many of them. I just couldn't remember the tie. Regardless, the next load of them is on their way. We've redirected them through long-distance communication to make sure that they head towards my properties to the southwest or southeast. I want to see the sword. I understand if you do not want to allow me to do it, but I want to see the sword.
I understand. That makes perfect sense. And if you come visit my estate, then we can make it available for you to look at.
King Amfred said that he knew more than anything that when he died, he would be sucked into the sword. His soul would be captured within. I think I have a means of getting him out.
Is
Care
resurrection
to-
possible?
Care to share them with us, brother?
We can discuss it more in depth once we see the sword. I won't know whether or not my plans are simply wishful thinking until I examine the blade.
Then should we expect you this evening?
I'll return with you now.
Fantastic.
Nice.
I only just got back, and my things are being placed in my apartments in the Capitol building, so I have time. Alright, you guys start walking. You sit there with the sword. As you're sitting there, quietly, focused in on yourself, your eyes flutter open, and you look at the door, and kind of sitting in the doorway is a familiar face. However, the face is fully formed this time, and not some wax-like apparition over an old, broken frame. You look and you see Agatha. She says, "Am I here? Or am I not?"
What do you want?
Oh, I can't take what I want now. It's not time for that. She grins. When she does, you can see that her teeth are kind of metal and shining underneath her skin.
I thought I was rid of you.
You didn't kill me.
Well, where are you now so I can finish the job?
Not here. Far from here. I've got business elsewhere. There are others, she says as her visage just dissipates. About that time, you start to hear a loud clunk, clunk, clunk as the rest of the family starts to head down to the basement. The screaming goes completely still. You guys are walking in. You find Valette inside of the magic circle.
Sigh of relief. Oh, thank God.
Oh.
No, like
She
for a
didn't
while,
put
you've
it
like kind of on edge ever since holding the sword for you guys because of that constant screaming, and like you see this visible look of just like,
Bliss.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and the same one comes over all four of our faces as we see that you haven't fucked up.
She managed to sit in a basement by herself and not screw it up, you guys.
That's
Hey,
sweet,
John.
sweet bliss.
When we're walking over to my house, before we get even close
Sure,
enough
sure.
to see it, I want to explain to him about how there's a tower that we were teleporting in, and it's now in my yard, and maybe he can help us figure out how to get rid of that.
One magical problem at a time.
That's secondary for sure.
He does as you enter into the house, kind of look at the tower peculiar, like with a look of like peculiar wonder, like just that's strange. And you head down into the basement. You see that amongst the number, Rasikant is there as well. He starts to move past everyone, look at the magic circle that's on the ground, and then look to the sword. The damage that's been done to it. Do you know who did this?
Did she tell us how it happened? Do you guys remember? This is out of character. Do you guys remember what she
Oh
told
my
us?
God, you should know out of character. I don't answer those questions.
Annie's the
Well,
note
yeah, but other
taker.
people may remember.
How the sword was damaged? No, I don't have any notes about
See,
that.
I don't remember.
He looks to Valette as he approaches. Can you place the sword down on the ground for me, milady?
I don't know what's changed, but it's currently not screaming.
It was screaming before.
Yes. He is stuck in the sword. He's constantly being tortured by insert name of the
Durin Balcon.
by Durin Balcard.
Interesting. Please lay the sword out.
And she takes it off and places it on the ground in the middle of the circle.
He looks down at it, kind of kneels down near it, reaches into his sash and pulls out something, material components, it looks like, and starts kind of sprinkling something over the blade. And then you see just like, like an act of sleight of hand or some sort of like, like magic trickery, like, Penn and Teller type stuff. A pearl of decent size just kind of manifests in his hand. And he kind of holds it over it, says some words in Draconic, and then he kind of looks at the sword, focusing in on it. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. Let me explain myself. According to the lore that I was able to muster about these weapons, they're soul swords. I guess Esper Edge is a fine terminology, as Esper is another term for soul. I believe an old Vazriel one. These swords contain the souls of those that wielded them. And they've been corrupted. All of them. A pure sentient thing is now a beacon a beacon of magical energy, but also twisted magical powers as well. I'm sure you've experienced this in your travels with them. And good King Amfred saw the same in his. I speak not out of arrogance on his behalf, but I'm certain that he unlocked more of this blade's powers than you have of yours. And had he known you sooner, perhaps his sword would have been stronger still. Something to rival even the powers that sit amongst the Council of Worms on the Isle of the Dragon. But, ultimately, the sword has a soul within it. Did you know that your kind, looking to Valette, were first created by the elves? Long ago, the very first of your kind. We named him after our god. He was lost away for a long time but recovered during the Third and Fourth Era. He fought great battles on behalf of heroes. In his own right, he was one himself. His name was Time. Perhaps the most powerful of your kind. The first one that was ever created. In the spirit of the Anaxim, the elf crafters would say. Looks to the sword again. The sword needs a wielder. A temporary one. He places his hand on the sword handle. The soul inside won't be freed unless another takes its place. He lifts the sword up and kind of focuses in on it. You can hear the screaming kind of slowly return, but it's just kind of sharp, pointed screams. And then you hear a voice, kind of one that you haven't heard before, just speak out. You would allow me to take you for him. Rasikant looks at the sword. He deserves a good death. You see Rasikant take the blade, place the hilt down on the floor, and then throw himself onto the sword. As he does so,
Not good.
He kind of falls limp, and then rolls off of the blade, and you see the sword kind of reshape back to its original station, looking, perfect and in order. And Rasikant kind of hits the ground, blood kind of spurting out of him, and then he kind of looks up at you, smiles. It's fine. It's all part of the... Looks at Gilbert. Hurry up, cleric. Do your duty.
I'll run over there and heal him.
Do you have 300 gold pieces worth of diamonds?
I think I might, actually, because I was going to revivify people.
Pulling that on us.
Well, no, nobody's died since I got
God, I'm pretty sure you did have one of the revivifies left.
Yeah.
I do have it in my. I'll put
you
0
kind
of them now.
Wait for a second as he kind of you move into kind of cast cure wounds. He's like, no, wait.
Revivify.
And then you kind of see the mortality slipping from him, and you cast revivify. His eyes kind of widen up. Perfect. You hear the sword kind of go silent for a second. The blade starts vibrating on the stone, and you start hearing screaming, but it's not agonized screaming. It sounds like someone feels like they've been tricked, just yelling in hatred inside the sword. Rasikant laughs as he gets up. Oh, it's been a while since I've died. Thanks, Gnome. Least you could do for me saving your family. Kind of wipes a little bit of blood off of the dragon sash that he wears. Dramatics. Kindly dramatics. The sword's empty now. Well, it has a part of me, as much as I'll allow it to have. It should be.
Where did the king go?
On to his afterlife.
Oh, okay.
If you had the body, we might be able to bring him back if you had the powers to do so, but unfortunately it's outside of my ken, and I don't think there are any clerics of that kind of power anywhere near here. The closest one I can think of would be the Red Priests up in Stormloft.
Yeah. Now, is he talking a resurrect spell or
True
a raise?
resurrection.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's a high level spell. Okay. Well, just a question out of character here. Would we be able to, if we got his body, resurrect him even though his soul is in the afterlife? I mean, that's I'm thinking we would,
Yeah.
right?
True
Okay.
resurrection's pretty much any time you can bring him back to life.
Well, then we need to bring his body up to the priests, and we need to get that guy back, man. He's an MVP.
The last I heard of the Red Priest is he's somewhere up in the kingdom of Stormloft. I do not know much about him other than he does great deeds for the people in that area and has done so for a long time. Many people have taken up the mantle of the Red Priest ever since the Age of Heroes. Um, he resurrected several great heroes in his time.
Yeah, I happen to have contacts up there in Stormloft, as you can imagine, with my family coming from up there.
Sure.
So, if you need me to, I've definitely volunteer to bring, once we get his body, to bring his body up there and get a resurrection done on him. That's a worthy adventure and quest for sure.
If you feel so, yeah. I don't disagree.
I'd look around at my companions to see what they're thinking.
Frag is very visibly conflicted as an individual who has come close to dying and probably died and came back to life a few times himself. I'm just visibly distraught about this, unless you would prefer to address that.
I don't know. What does Brock think? Because he was really sad that the king had died, and is he happy now because his soul is released, or what?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm not too keen on the arcane, so I'm just kind of trying to figure out exactly what's going on. But yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think Rastikin's dope. I would wonder, are we going to give the sword back to the prince now? Is it cleansed? Because Durin's corruption's still, like, now you're going to have to fight it.
I think we have to wait till we know for sure it's cleansed. It doesn't sound like it's cleansed to me, right?
Oh, the sword still has the sin within it.
Yeah.
But I do not think that you'll be able to purify the black blade unless you find its counterpart.
Is there a white blade, or it'd be black and white, right?
It's the white shield to counteract the black blade.
There you go. The white sheath for the black blade.
In the Shedem, each of the sins is supposed to be bound against a virtue. I do not know if there are counterpart weapons. A white blade, if you will. I just know that there are virtues that cause the sins to be subdued when the swords were subdued. The virtues that go against the sins were the ones that bound the souls to your sword. And as you say that, all of the souls just start manifesting inside of the small chamber, and Rastikin's kind of like,
ooh.
And you see Rodden, the one from Cranebeak, step forward. You're not wrong. A wise elf. And he kind of freaks out. And you guys kind of go, wait, you can see these? It's not just us. We aren't crazy.
Well, he did just stab himself with one of those blades.
He is crazy.
Yeah, he's
Hawk, what did you mean by there are others?
There are others. There are a total of 13 of these swords.
So we must go collect them all.
Not to get too Pokemon about it, but yeah.
all right, guys. Let's go.
I do not think whatever purifying action needs to be performed can be done without all 13.
And why is Agatha coming back? Why is she talking about there being others as well?
What are you talking about?
Agatha, my former self. Shortly before Rastikin and the party showed up, she appeared before me, saying the same thing you did.
I did not see that vision from you. We should be sharing the same mind. I should be able to see and experience what you feel from within the sword, Hawk says. Are you sure you saw this vision?
Yes. I demanded she tell me where she was so I could finish the job and kill her off.
Rastikin's kind of crossing his arms and kind of backing away from the group. All of the souls seem to be kind of invested in what Valette's saying here. Feel free to exchange with any of them now that you have them out. And my cat rubs her face on the camera.
Is that her face? Because it doesn't.
You're kind of seeing
I
it
don't know.
like
It's hard. It's hard to tell.
There it is. You
Oh
see it?
nope, there it is. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, she was giving it the love. She loves that camera.
Of course.
It's got lights and it's warm.
She's loving that camera.
There's people in there. I know they're in there. Get me, you guys.
You sound like Cartman.
She would.
I would ask the specters if our swords represent sins, do some of them represent virtues?
No, it's as your friend here stated, and as he's astutely studied. We overcame those sins with the virtue opposite of them.
I turned the hawk. So, if mine were pride, I must seek out humility. Life.
Hold on a second. My cat's getting in the way of my notes. Apologies. 1 second.
Who knew we were going to be against the cat tonight? That's our foe.
Yep. Well, nobody ever checked up on Henry. He could be destroying your entire house as we speak.
That's it. That's that damn cat.
So,
So you're saying pride in the name of love or something?
yeah, that's what I'm saying, sure. So, yes, humility would be the opposite of pride, that's correct.
But so the opposite of greed is what? Poverty?
No,
Generosity?
charity.
Sounds expensive.
I believe Sam might have it easy. He just has to be chaste.
Chastity, correct.
and so the King's Blade was corruption was the sin?
Correct.
Okay.
Purifying.
Valette's is humility. Ren's is probably loyalty.
Betrayal, yeah, loyalty is correct.
Gilbert's is, well, what's the opposite of vanity, Gilbert?
Oh, good question. Is there anything besides vanity?
Fugliosity.
I don't know what the hell it is. That's what I don't know what this is like blowing my mind. I don't think there is an opposite of that.
And
Vanity?
Brox's is wrath.
Yeah.
For wrath is kindness. Yeah. And for vanity, I think I currently have it as temperance, but it's not. That's not right.
See, there is none. Because there's nothing wrong with vanity.
Temperance would probably be the counter to despair.
Wouldn't it be like modesty or something?
Maybe.
Yes. Or you already used humility, right?
Right.
Yeah, he used
Yeah.
humility.
Hold on.
He said humility is the opposite of pride.
Checking my notes.
Which is
Non-existent self-esteem.
Oh no. Oh my God. What is it?
The opposite of vanity is insecurity.
We covered.
Humility is close, but
I need somebody to gnome-splain this to me.
Sorry. The Oh my God. Where's my notes? Oh right.
Oh my gosh.
It is modesty. The difference between
Modesty.
humility and modesty being kind of the difference between vanity and pride.
Right.
Vanity is more about
Modesty.
yourself, whereas pride is more about you as like vanity is about how you are perceived outwardly. Pride is about how you perceive yourself. Modesty is about how you are perceived outwardly, whereas humility is about how you perceive yourself.
So somehow I have to stop being a really awesome gnome. I don't know how that's possible.
No, you just need to not care about what other people think of you as a gnome.
Because they already think of
Present
me as
yourself.
awesome?
You need to present yourself as less than that.
That's not possible.
Well, enjoy the corrupt blade.
Just don't use those special features.
Oh, I thought these were regular features. I didn't think they were that
No,
special.
you know how we get those special points?
I know, and I'm going to
That's
use the
not
shit
what
out of
we do.
those because they're awesome. I'm going all in with this, man.
Oh no.
We're losing Gilbert.
I don't see any problem
Gilbert's
here.
the thin one.
That's alright, we can fucking take him.
If he goes
Wouldn't
bad
that be
guy.
awesome? Gilbert's the final boss.
Yeah, that's what it's.
All I have to do is just kill one of you because you can't bring yourselves back. That's the problem.
That'd be like a really great full circle because you guys started off this game by beating the crap out of him.
We did.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe it's
And we'll end the game
him
by
over with his
literally
horse.
ending him.
Why
Oh,
did this
boy.
take us this many sessions to do? Why didn't we just do this in the park?
That's because you killed off my last character before he hit that boiling point, and it reset me back to 0, and I'm now at like 80% again.
Still
You know,
working your way
I was
back.
at 98%, and then you killed him off. I'm like back again.
I get it now. That makes perfect sense.
On the
That's it.
Gilbert hatred scale.
the hatred scale.
You did the same thing to Matt. Matt's back at 95% now too.
Just be careful. You don't want everybody to be wrathful because one of you has to not be wrathful. Joe's like, fuck this shit.
Nah.
Then the real bad guy.
Get on the demon train. Let's kill them all.
Perfect. The souls kind of look like they're kind of open to receiving questions. Hawk looks like he's kind of despondent and a bit worried because of this vision of Agatha that Villette's mentioning. So yeah, just open table. Tell me what you want to talk about.
How do we locate the other souls?
Our feelings point them very far away from here. We felt them most closely when we were in that strange town, the one up on the rocks with the rebels.
Oh yes.
Did you sense the dream shard there?
Yes. But we sense it here as well, says Rodden.
How can that be?
Maybe Cranebeak is the dream shard.
We feel that it's in the control of the servant of the original bearer
I
of
could
the
hope.
shard, a Shariad Het. His servant is now the owner of the shard. It's been gifted to him by creatures of shadow. And you see Rasakin kind of stroking his chin. The servant of a Shariad Het? You mean Isht, Stonechild, do you not? Rodden looks to him. I do. Rasakin says, his descendant, Grunstonechild, his statue resides inside of a massive park called Stonechild Park. Before I had left, had heard reports that his statue had been defaced. Some say that it was missing.
Wait a minute. Did I hear him right? Was it inside the statue? Is that what?
No, that's
Oh.
not what anybody said.
Oh.
That was both in and out of character.
You watch as all of the souls of Rasakin, and then all of the player characters kind of turn and look at Gilbert like,
What? Are you shaking?
Yeah. And
No.
Vrac bursts out laughing. Oh.
Nolan said. Get that butt out of the way, Nolan. Henry, oh Henry, little got a D&D character now. Oh, it's me. I am a D&D guy. I'll push my butt against everything. All right. Anyways, yeah.
So wait, the statue without the face?
No. The statue of the big giant at the very, very first session has been mentioned a couple times so far.
The person in this timeline we're looking for is Isht, Stone Child. So he said the dream shard was passed down.
Right. So if you recall, it was a Shiriad who had the shard. It was given to Isht at some point, according to what your lore said. And then all of the Stone Child children were seeking out the shard and also the sword of the Stone Child house. Yenlorn had the shard. You've met several giants who were seeking those weapons. Giants filled with bugs and shit. And then when the when the shard was taken, the Esper Edge was taken, it was taken by a giant shadowy figure inside of the pyramid. Any questions for the souls before I dissipate them? Ooh, it's spicy.
Okay, Zach.
Something's going on.
Fucking
What do you
jalapeno
know
down the
Yeah.
wrong
of the
throat.
I knew it
Iltania
was
Duchess?
like spicy. I could tell.
Fucking awful. Oh, there's gonna be some tears too.
That's good role playing. He's crying.
He's sad about. All right, hey, those are
Go
tears
with
of
it.
joy because of how funny
So happy.
Gilbert getting
Don't
owned
worry.
was. He's like, oh damn, that was so wonderful. Oh, can we do that once a day? Just like look at him.
At least.
You guys are welcome.
That'll keep me from smothering him with a pillow at night.
You get these rare gems here.
So I would want to ask if they know anything about the Iltania Duchess.
No. They all kind of look to you. No, not really. It was after our time.
Well, were you were there with us in spirit when we encountered her? Was she an Esper Edge?
Other than the sword that she gave to you, she was not a wielder of the weapon. No.
All right.
Rodden kind of looks to Gilbert. It is as they said in the throne room. She, as Rosican spoke to Broxgar, she is a child of the vampire. She is a unnaturally powerful creature. Rosican kind of, well, it was an honor meeting you all. Yeah. They all kind of look to you. This one can be trusted, and they, especially now that he's a wielder of the blade, and they all dissipate. And then he's like, "Wait, what?" And you kind of all
Is he-
hear, like, as they dissipate, "He is one of us."
Which one are they referring to?
Resic.
Okay.
Resican, right. Because he got stabbed,
Right.
I
The
guess.
soul's partially trapped.
I think that means that you're in the blade now, brother.
He kind of looks to the sword. And strangely, I guess I'm also its wielder on the outside of the weapon, too. An interesting opportunity, I suppose.
I know that when we were with the Duchess, she mentioned needing dragon stones to possibly free before needing them to free or purify the king from the blade.
The stones were in the conglomerate tower before it fell down.
Correct. So, what ways are you going to seek to? Are basically you're just going to seek to live a uncorrupt life, try and purify it?
I suppose. I suppose. It sounds like the purity of the blade If it is the case that the stones need to be inserted into the weapon and it needs to be returned to its pure state, and that's how the blade is purified, then that's outside of my abilities if the stones went where I think they went.
Yes, we will have to go to hell.
Yeah. And fight
Which hell we going to?
a red dragon. As old as any of the kingdoms in Parnak. Filled with a demon and its powers.
A good old Asmodee.
A collection of treasures and relics and artifacts that cannot be rivaled inside of her hell. Yeah, that'll be an easy one.
I think first we should seek to try and at least gather all the Esperges together.
Fair. Well, if you seek,
Or at least identify their locations.
if you seek the other ones, I don't have much in the way of being able to locate them. If your Esper friends were correct, they're on the other side of the world.
Is that where we would find the Stone Childs as well?
No. Do you know what country you were in when you were on this rocky town that they mentioned?
It was someplace where the conglomerate had not yet full control. That there was a war going on between. There's 3 kingdoms, I believe. One that stayed neutral, one that was free of conglomerate, and one that was controlled by conglomerate.
Wait a minute. The conglomerate control of Syria. The 3 kingdoms still rule, but they're figureheads, nothing more. Last I heard, there's a rebel force based out of Liberus that's trying to return the country back to its glory before the conglomerate took control, but they're no longer fighting a war. That war's been over for hundreds of years. Are you sure that's what was said there?
At least the members that I do not know.
Interesting. Very confusing.
I could be the one confused.
That's fine. Just so long as you don't tell me something wrong and I base an entire direction on it, totally ruining the plot, we should be okay.
No.
Wait, what? This guy's so meta.
Guys, check your notes. Check your notes. Did Tim fuck up? Because I don't have them. Check your notes. I can't check them.
So we're trying to remember what exactly?
When we went to the Rocky place.
Was that the town that was controlled by the Kingo?
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
You never went
This
to
was
a
when
town
we
controlled by the Kingo.
teleported and we were up on a like hill thing, and then we came down and we started seeing some different people. Oh gosh, I don't even remember all the details. That's the problem.
And there was that one female agent that was walking around, and we ducked inside the house.
Yeah, you're right. That was what.
She was
But I
an
don't remember all the
enforcer,
details.
to be accurate, but yeah.
Enforcer, yeah.
The person who takes the best notes, I think, is probably Ren.
Yeah, I don't have it,
Andy.
sorry.
That's all right.
Enforcer 126.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Oh, I had bad notes that day.
It's fine. And then you spoke to members of the Old Guard, a rebel force that's trying to stop the conglomerate's control, and they're taking and selling of old artifacts from Osirian's history.
Was that Osir Vale or Falcon Crest?
Falcon Crest was the name that you were given the town when you were teleporting to it. The name that was on the note card that Sam had. Nobody in the town had mentioned that was the name of the town, though.
Yeah. So that's the one we need to go back to then, it sounds like. Possibly.
That seems like that might be where the greatest number of Esperges can be acquired. But I fear for letting the Dream Shard wait too long to recover it.
Yeah, I agree.
Whatever you all think is best.
Is that where we met Aphograd, who was an old man, and Davos, who was a young mage?
Young
Yeah.
bard, yeah.
That's what my notes say.
Well,
That's
that would
not
be
Davos-
very
accurate.
detailed color.
And Alsaria.
And Celia was
Sweet.
the one with the crossbow.
Yeah.
And they had a wounded friend, and his name was...
Oh shit, that's probably the bonus. If you get bonus points, if you remember that.
I healed him.
Yeah. He was a Saryuja named Daiji.
Ah. Cool.
Yeah, good stuff. So
Good stuff.
Rasakin kind of looks to you all. Do I leave the sword with you or take it back myself?
It kind of sounds like you're the one who's supposed to wield it now, right?
He reaches down and takes the sword into his hand.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Rasik. I think
You're
you should
muted,
keep
John.
it for safekeeping.
He picks up the sword. I let it go because Joe started talking, but he picks up the sword and kind of starts raising it up. And as he does so, the blade thins out. It was kind of like a large greatsword before. It thins out and shortens down to like a rapier size. It still has
So-
placements inside of the sword for the runestones. It's still a little bit wider than a normal rapier would be, but it looks more like an elvish blade than the big greatsword that you had basically heard tales about from good King Amfred. And he goes, interesting.
The opposite of what happened with Osofune when I took it up.
The opposite, correct.
Cool.
He takes the weapon, pulls out his own sword, kind of just places it to the side, and then slides the weapon in, and it seems to fit perfectly in his sheath. Interesting. Well, I guess I'm one of your number now. I will return back to our king and advise him as to what has happened here. If you require me, I will remain in Alderac. He reaches into his pockets, pulls out 2 purple stones, and hands one over to Gilbert. This should be able to get you directly in contact with me.
Oh, excellent.
Also, a
Thank you.
3rd stone has been keyed to these as well. When you activate it, he tells you the word. You'll say 1 word to speak to me. You'll say 1 word to speak to your family at my lands. You'll say a 3rd word to speak to both at the same time.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much.
Of course. I will see
Raskin.
myself out. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Apologies, but one final thing is that I don't know if they had mentioned it, but the Bloody Duchess said that someone could be sent to recover the king's body if that might be needed for seeking a resurrection in the future.
We're hoping to hear back from Adrian Vaticus. He's made his way into their lands and was charged with recovering the king as well, alongside you, if you recall, the Margrave.
Yep.
If he does not return, I will make sure to take special considerations. I will also ask your grandfather, Lord Kurgosler, if the rest of your family arrives by airship, if I can commandeer it for those purposes.
Oh, yes. I'm sure he would, allow you to use it because it would be because of all you've done for us.
Of course. I'm sure that the Barbagezi priest, upon his arrival, would be willing to do something great for the kingdom right off the bat. That said, I ask your permission to leave, Lord Kurgosler.
Yes, you may. I bow.
He bows as well, and he heads right out the door. Taking the side door and kind of walking out in the direction of the tower.
Does he enter the tower?
Do you follow him up that way?
I kind of want to watch him from the doorway and see if he does enter the tower. And if he does, I'm going to just, throw it out to the rest of the group.
You see him kind of stop near the tower, kind of move towards the door, pull something out of his bag, and kind of pointedly raise it over his head like this. You see him kind of mutter some words and then drop the stone, on the ground in front of the door, and then walk away.
All right, I'm gonna keep that to myself. No one else was watching other than me, I'm assuming.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then I'm just gonna go back and share what I saw with the group.
Okay.
All right. Interesting.
If only our wizard was here.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
might be able to figure out what that is.
You have no idea where he's at.
And he's not answering the communicator, and we're not worrying about it.
Yeah.
Helps me a lot. I don't have to think too hard.
Eh, what's rolling a third character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you all think is our best course of action going forward? What is our prime objective? And where should we start?
I think we have to go for the rest of the asperages. Asperages, I should say, not asperages.
I can give you an aspirage right here.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, I think we need to get them. And that's not going to be easy, I don't think.
Perhaps the Dream Shard first, because it's closest.
Is that the one that we would go in Stone Child Park?
That's
Or-
our first lead.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And break the statue open, see if it's inside. Are you still on that?
It's like a Kinder egg.
When it comes to destruction
Sounds
of
like a plan.
property, I leave that up to Valette or maybe Vrak. To destruction of property, people, I can imagine.
You know, when you're good at something, you're supposed
You
to
got-
stick with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could just
Fake it till you
can
make
do
it.
man.
So you guys want to take a trip over to Stonechild Park? Is that right?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not
Just a
terrib-
reminder, we don't have our bike anymore.
You
I
go
know.
outside
That
towards the
sucks.
tower, and you see that your horses and the bike are sitting right outside where they would have been approximately in adjacent to
Okay.
the tower.
Just,
Thank you, teleportation.
I needed to point that out. I'm glad you
No,
clarified.
fair enough. No one's actually gone outside that way. Everyone's left at the front door.
Yeah.
And no one's actually gone out to look around the tower. But yeah, your everything is currently there.
Okay.
Nice.
So mounting up and riding, or are you guys going to take a trolley or a sky?
Are we gonna fucking talk to Sam at some point, or are we just ditching his ass?
Well,
like,
because Matt doesn't exist,
right.
I'm basically.
But I
trying to
just
do a
feel
bit.
like, should we throw a message out to him before we leave? Is more what Brack is saying. Like,
Sure, I get you.
that's. I'm not. I understand Sam
For the-
can't actually join us,
For
but
the-
like,
for the
we should
purposes-
tell him we're leaving, right? Like, he's a guy who's gonna come and show up at your house and be like, "Where the fuck my friends?"
Well, Stonechild Park's only like an hour or so away. It's not too far
Yeah,
away.
it's not very far away.
But you,
Oh,
give him
okay.
a call and he's like, I'm busy. And you're like,
I'm
this.
busy.
And he's like, okay, fine. And hangs up on you.
Fine.
Can I just say that was great role playing by Vrak because he doesn't know where Stonechild Park is.
Right.
Don't know where the fuck we're talking about. We could be going for fucking weeks. You said Stone Child. That could be across the goddamn map. I don't know.
Normally, people would go straight there, but what we're going to do is we're going to teleport to Janaris first, and then we're going to go teleport over to another place.
Oh my god, teleportations.
It's killer.
It's mad with power. So Stonechild Park is just there in the Portside borough. It's I'd say about an hour or so away by if you take trolley or Skycar. If you're going by horseback and riding across the way, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, just to get there. That said, which method would you like to utilize to get there?
I'm
What do you
all for the
think?
3 method.
All right,
All right, so we're going to be riding a horse, a trolley, and a motorcycle.
sure.
Yeah.
This
Not
is
that
a
I'm being of
bicycle.
joke.
Don't say there's no motor on this thing. Vrak's fucking pedaling, you motherfuckers.
Oh, I thought it was a motorcycle.
No, this is a bicycle.
They're like mountain bikes.
No,
man.
it's like a giant mountain bike that Vrak has to physically move his legs to operate. You
Oh.
dicks get to sit on the back of a like fucking
know.
robot creature, and I'm like,
That is
Yeah,
half
but it's a
orc
workout,
powered.
man.
That is half orc powered convenience. That's what that is.
Brock
Yeah.
doesn't have to move his legs.
Brock's
Hey, I made it. I built it. I'm
Yeah,
good.
he built it, so obviously he doesn't have to move his legs.
The brain-
and he's my autonomous turret.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't gotta point that shit anywhere. It fires off on its own.
Pintle mounted dwarf.
I love it.
All right, so on the way there, do you want to make any stops? A couple of things that are kind of on the way, and again, not terribly important probably, but the Kurgazler warehouse, which is currently in a state of flux. If you recall, I believe it was finally and ultimately given over to the Night Sharks. The third precinct is kind of on the way. If you want to have any discussions with any folks there in law
Yeah.
enforcement.
Hey, Ren, you want to check out your old office?
The garbage pail, which is pretty much kind of like a no longer important, but at one time was kind of an important location. If you want to travel south a little bit, you could stop by Tavern Lane. It's not exactly on the way, but yeah. And then last but not least, Stone Child Park. Any stops? Anything you can think of? Take that
I
as
don't
a,
really care.
take that as a no. So you guys make your way to Stone Child Park and start kind of riding your bikes, riding your horses. By the time you get
And
there,
elk.
it's yep. By the time you get there, it's about afternoon time. You arrived back early morning, or not early morning, but yeah, early morning, and then kind of dealt with all the hustle and bustle of the king. And so it's kind of actually mid-afternoon at this point. Sky near the coast has kind of turned gray. And so upon entering into Stone Child, you're kind of moving from a point where it's pretty well lit to a point where it's kind of more grayish and darker inside of the forest. This kind of casts like lots of weird shadows from the bushes, the trees in the lake. But you know where you're going. You've been here before, with the exception of Vrak. It looks like a very nice change of pace for the city that you've seen. Lots of buildings out and around the park, but I mean, if you've ever been to New York, you kind of have. If you've ever been to Central Park, it's kind of like that kind of contrast, like walking out of like the city and then moving into like trees and shit. It's like that kind of sharp difference. There aren't many people out and about in the park though. Seems pretty quiet today, and you start making your way to where the statue is located. You arrive there, and all that remains is the plinth that the statue was on.
I'd like to
Sweet.
examine it.
Okay. Are you looking for anything in particular? Clues as to what might have happened to it, or just...
Sure, clues as to what might have happened, or if there are any hidden compartments or levers or switches at the base of it, perhaps.
Okay. It doesn't take you long to realize that it is just a solid block of stone that something was placed up on top of. Make an investigation check, though. Intelligence investigation.
15?
You said 18?
15?
15, okay. You don't know what happened with the statue, but it wasn't dragged off of the plinth. It seems to have been moved somehow supernaturally, or just lifted up by something very strong and taken away. Or it just grew legs and started walking away on its own. You kind of start kind of gazing around, though, and not really focus too much on the plinth or the surroundings. You see that copse of bushes that you hid in, like when you ambushed Lord Kurgazler, like cowards.
Yep.
And
Like the scum you are.
there's something off about the bushes. Like you think you might see that there's something in the bushes.
I'm gonna put on my little monocle and I'm gonna go check it out.
Sure, the monocle's not terribly necessary. Very quick, scouring around. The more common eye wouldn't have seen it, but you were able to see it from the side there. You were kind of paying attention, but you see what appears to be the dead body of just a human male. Looks like he was cut clean, nearly clean in two. Like shoulder to just underneath the rib cage, just barely hanging on by a tussle of meat and flesh. Looks like he's been dead for a while too.
I would call the others over, and while they're coming, I would sort of check out, see if there's anything that I could glean from the body.
Sure.
I have, hold on a second.
Medicine would be the trained skill I
have
would
a
need.
thing. Yeah, but I think I have a thing.
Oh, right.
Autopsy?
Investigation, autopsy. Go for it.
Yeah, I have a thing. Yeah.
So he's mentioning a skill trick, which comes from my advanced ability checks.
That's it. That's the autopsy.
Buy it now on DM's Guild. I'm a whore.
25.
That's really good. It looks like he was cut by a very heavy blade. A very, very heavy blade, heavier than a greatsword. It looks like his body was then grabbed by the top portion and thrown like a rag doll over the bushes, from what you can see. Based on the state of the body, you're pretty certain whatever did this had grabbed his head pre the final blow, and then dealt the final blow, and then tossed the body away. So you're kind of picturing it in your head, and this figure is kind of holding the head of this man, kind of keeping him silent, and then this blade chops into him, and then just throws him over the bushes.
Mm-hmm. So is it, I know that what killed the creature, the size and approximate strength.
Oh yeah, really, really strong, like giant strong.
The giant size as well.
Perhaps, possibly like more ogre sized, or somewhere in between like Goliath and an ogre. Uh-oh, we're getting that full purr festa. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And is there anything on the body itself, any identification or any
Looks like
markings or?
everything they had on their person when they died. There's a, coin purse. Doesn't look like they have any papers or anything. Probably just someone just wandering for a stroll in the park. He's got a short-range communicator on him.
There you go.
So you took the coin.
Let's check what channel it's on.
Okay, he had 11 gold pieces. No change.
Somebody who doesn't have a short range communicator should take that because
I don't have one.
several of us have them already.
Should we try paging whatever it's set to let them know that we found their next of kin?
Maybe.
Not yet.
And is the size of the attacker match up to the size of the statue? Could it perhaps have been given life?
Gain inspiration, and yes.
Fuck yeah, buddy.
Nice job.
Look at you with your big brain plays.
Look at the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, dude, that's some galaxy brain shit right there, bruh.
Vlek kind of just idly mentions it, and then you see Ren kind of go, like, at first go, and then go, and then like the math just kind of starts floating past, and he's like, you see Gilbert going,
I knew
Brock's
it.
like, yeah, and Brock's goes like, makes sense, but at the same time, oh my god, no.
Are there any tracks that would indicate where the monster went?
Based on the corpse's body and your autopsy roll, this body's been here since about the same time you came out of the pyramid.
Okay.
Or around the same time you lost the shard.
Wow.
Or other things that might be or might not be related. Hint,
Trying a
hint,
demon.
nudge, nudge.
Right.
Right.
Seems like it would be wildly coincidental, except this is a story-driven game.
Very good.
So.
Sometimes actions have repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got some random guy killed, apparently.
Yeah.
That was the other character. Not gonna take that guilt on personally.
Brack is pure as freshly fallen snow. Yeah, this isn't his fault.
So far. You haven't told me all the people Vrax killed yet.
Your hands are all dirty. Yeah, that's also true, yeah. So, what next?
Should we? It seems like if it's that long ago, it will be tough to gather stories of what direction people may have had sightings of the statue. A golem, as it were, if it's still of stone.
Ren would ask Villette what he thinks might have happened to the pyramid now that the conglomerate tower has been destroyed.
I'm going to apologize real quick for 1 second. I just need to add. I just realized you hit a specific DC with that autopsy check. Sorry. The head of the guy, there's a marking that seems to have been ground into his forehead. It's very faint, but you're able to make it out. It is the exact same symbol that Vrack wears on his belt. The mountain with a sword impaling it, or the symbol of Aguasy, the god of strength and also the god of giants. Apologies.
It's all good.
Frack, what did you do?
He got drunk one night and he just,
I got drunk a lot of nights.
and it happens.
It looks like
It
whoever
was a
did it
accident.
either had the symbol in their hand or was carrying something like a holy symbol in their hand when they did it. So you don't think it's his belt. He didn't like jump up and like give him the
Yeah.
I'm good, but I'm not that good.
that hobby. But yeah, that's pretty much the information you glean here.
Okay, so I had asked Villette what he thought might have happened to the pyramid after the tower had been destroyed.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we possibly see the pyramid
No.
last
It
session?
was a different pyramid.
Different
Oh,
pyramid.
okay.
Should we go back, is what I'm thinking. Would it be not as dangerous with the conglomerate tower destroyed?
Everybody who wants to go ahead and
There's
make
still
a
a
history
legend there.
check. I don't care if you're trained in it or not, because she said what the name of it was and where you were when it happened. 10's good enough. If you beat a 10, let me know. Not you.
We suck.
Ren was paying attention when people were talking. I'll be surprised if Broxcar doesn't roll really high. Good deal.
Whoa!
Nice.
As expected. So, you're thinking about it, and you've been thinking about it like in the back of your mind the whole time, Broxcar. Einkarn is the only city in the province known as Vitalis. Vitalis is a wasteland that's set in the center of the entire continent. It's surrounded by a mountain range, circular completely around it, known as the Barrier Peaks. They're called the Barrier Peaks because in ancient times, the first association of Talnumri, the first alliance of man, elf, and dwarf, fought against the dragons and the demons inside of that province when it was a beautiful forest. The battle caused the destruction of the entirety of that land. The Barrier Peaks are said to have been raised up by the great mages of those three races in that time to protect everyone from those places after the humans were basically freed from those lands. Humans still reside in those lands, but most of them are slaves to what are known as the nobility of Einkarn, or tieflings, or half-demons, people with demons in their blood. And another quick note on tieflings, just so we have it out in the air. If you are born to two human parents, there is a chance that you're born a tiefling because at some point in your earlier like ancestry, there could have been some sort of basically it's a trait that can pop up at random, or if you're born to two tieflings, you're a tiefling. There's several societies that are just tieflings making their own way of it. How there's tiefling community in Rostigar, but the tieflings of Einkarn are a bit different. They kind of wear their heritage as kind of like a. They're very ingratiated in the demon background, whereas tieflings out in the world are just making their own way. If that makes sense.
Oh,
Lore you should know.
The lore you know. That's a thing I'm gonna do now. Gotta figure out how to make
Just lore
videos.
drops. Just get a microphone and you could be like, lore drop.
Bong.
You know?
So anyway, what say you, sirs?
Nice. Well, that came up short, but where
Says
do
the
you think?
gnome.
Ren, yeah, ironic, huh? So Ren, you're thinking maybe it went back to the pyramid? Or are you just
Well,
wondering?
that was just a thought, but I mean, is this place that John just mentioned worthy of looking at?
Is there any association with Aguesi and that place?
Not really. You'd have to do some studying to get more information, and that'd have to be done at a library to get more history about Einkarn as a whole. But if you're
I love library.
if you're looking for more local information, there's a couple of good places you could check out. Wild Ones territory is the gang territory that you're in. You're not terribly familiar with them, but I'm sure you can try and pick up some information from them if you're in good graces. There are a couple of taverns portside that cater to sailor types, so a lot of information traffics through and out. You're not too far away from the 3rd Precinct, which does have dealings in this side of the Spellmoth Bearport border, kind of in and around Stonechild Park. If you recall, when Gilbert was arrested, he was detained and taken to the 3rd Precinct. So if there's any legality matters that might have come up since that time, that's probably where the information would be. A lot of local folks live in the Garbage Pail. It's a very common residential site. I don't remember if you have any connections present there, but that's that. And yeah.
Unless Endemon's still hanging around.
He's not. If you remember, he said he was heading north to Osaria.
Yeah.
So then?
Well, what do you guys think? What? You want to
good
head up
face.
to a library?
We could do that.
You guys can always split the party.
I am a big fan. I'm a huge fan.
I hate that.
Well, I don't think we should split the party if one group is going to the pyramid. You know that.
Makes sense.
Do you want to go to the pyramid?
I don't know. I don't know.
And again, if you had a wizard here, he'd probably be stating the
Yeah.
obvious about the pyramid.
Well, yeah, here's a question. There's a lich in the pyramid. That's what I remember as being a very bad thing.
That's not
And-
the thing that I was going to say. It was something that was mentioned last session. I guess I'll chime in just because I know Sam's not here, and I know Matt would probably have noted this. The pyramid was severed from connections that's connected it to the soul portal link. So when you guys teleported from the house on those portal grids that he was making, you're going to beat locations that you would have gone to had you put certain heads into the braziers inside of that
right.
soul portal place.
Mm-hmm.
And so an out of character assumption that you're making right now is he's probably in full depth study of that portal grid and trying to figure out how that works, like precisely. So probably best to leave him alone. But the same point is that the very key thing that was mentioned was that when the pyramid did whatever it did, it's no longer a part of the grid.
Got it.
So it's not possible to travel using the teleportation, right?
The portals, portals are
Portals.
no longer key to the pyramid, right?
But then does that mean that the pyramid is no longer important?
I don't know. It's
Well-
important to me. There's still like a whole bunch of stuff in that dungeon that you guys haven't done yet.
Yeah,
Not
maybe
right.
that's what you just want to do, a dungeon delve, huh?
We'll see.
Maybe.
So, what would you like to do? $10,000 pyramid, $1,000,000 pyramid, boy. What were you raised in the 70s?
I'm talking like 70s and 80s, 90s, $10,000.
I said it as if it were a joke, but I knew the truth.
You did know the truth.
I knew the truth.
So,
Yeah.
so going to a library to research Eincrad may
Eincard.
benefit Eincard. Might
So
offer
close.
some benefit. Figuring out where to go, possibly somewhere associated with Aguasi, might be worth it because if the dude had a holy symbol of Aguasi, that's another link. I'm sure Vrock might be able to offer some insight into that, possibly where we might want to go. Maybe, maybe not. So those are the two things, I guess. Fletch just sort of offers up, like, as possible ideas of where to go next. Not really knowing herself what's the best thing to do, but
Sure.
that just stuck out to her.
Yeah, quick reminder, Brack's not gonna know anywhere. You know.
Yeah.
Never left that circle that we literally walked around in 2 days.
It's gonna
So-
be Ren, Gilbert, or Broxgar who pulls the trigger on this. Like, they need to
Yeah.
decide
Yeah,
what the
and I
directionality is.
think Broxgar may be able to, like, research where some of the people who have the Esper edges, where they may be, because he's good at that. So that's my thought. Unless we just start trying to, I don't know what else would be the best way to go about this. Maybe we need to go to like the great libraries. The Tal, isn't there like what? How do you say that? Tal Marie.
Tell
I
them
can
right,
never say
yeah.
it right. Tal Marie. That has like some good libraries up there, but
Yeah, it's
Actually,
literally where
we
Brox
might
would
be-
want to go if you're gonna do library studies.
yeah. But we might be better off if we did like a study of popular culture, like figure out in the bars. I don't know, like where people with magical weapons are.
They have like the multiple choice quizzes. You're
Yeah,
It's
"What's
like
the
bar
best way?"
trivia, right?
Yeah, bar trivia.
or trivia, exactly.
Sure.
And then we could do some karaoke.
Also,
I call it nomioki. I'm gonna put that on there.
fair enough.
Nomioki.
Think of your song.
Just let me know where you want to go.
It's kind of hard to choose without
Oh, sure.
knowing something.
Well, you won't
I
know
don't know if
anything
that's
until you
spelled.
choose.
And no, that's the problem.
You won't know anything.
We don't gnome enough.
I'm done with these puns.
Gnome puns are the best.
What would you like to do?
All right, Ren. Would any of your contacts in the precinct know anything about Esper Edges or people who would have them? I don't think so, but
I don't think so.
what about talking to people that a mage would know? Like, they might have that type of lore.
So
Our
I'm
mage
gonna,
is gone.
I'm gonna try it again and see if I can get that subtlety out there and see if I can
Yeah.
get the hint. So the options that you have, you could go to a library and research the information The best choice for that we've already discussed. You could check around the local parts in bars and such and see if there's any rumors or anything about a statue man walking around killing stuff. You could go to the third precinct and try and see if there's been any murders. This one obviously wasn't reported, but who knows if there are more. Those were the three things I said. Not very mage-centric on purpose.
Possibly
That's fine.
run. We
Nudge,
could
nudge.
possibly run into Effie.
Wink, wink. Sandamore.
Yeah, so let's do those things. That sounds good. Why don't we start with the bars and see if we hear any gossip about statue creatures.
So we're not splitting the party.
I mean, we could, but I don't. That's up to you.
Because I'm all for sending Brox and Vrack out to a library to go do some research while, like,
I can go with you,
Ren
to
and
the bar,
Valette.
and then
Yeah.
we can go to the precinct where I have connections in Spellmoth anyway.
Whoever goes with me is gonna die.
Okay, so not me.
Because I'm planning on dying. So no, I want to go with the strongest. Not that you're not strong, Ren, but when it comes
That's
to getting
fine,
killed,
Gilbert. I'll go with you again and keep you alive
Yes,
single-handedly.
I want to go with Frack and Valette. I want to go with both of them this time.
But if we're
Frack
gonna
and
split the
Valette.
party, remember we probably want to split up our healing.
I know, that's why I don't want to split the party again. It's bad.
You
It
get a
was
lot
so
more done
bad.
a lot faster that way, but
That's true. That's true. All right, who wants to go where? You really want to go? You want to go with Brox to the library?
oh, I don't know. I was just splitting up into twos, and if I have to
Yeah.
pick a partner in character, Vrack's gonna pick Brox. Out of character, I don't think that's necessarily the best choice,
Okay.
Yeah.
but
It doesn't matter. Who's going to attack you at the library, anyways, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think out of character it doesn't make sense for me to go with Brox because nobody's
So-
gonna attack with the two of us, and he doesn't need my muscle.
Rockstar is a necessary component for the library research.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Right.
Ren is
Yes,
a necessary
correct.
component for investigation in town and also at the precinct. Those are your two
Yeah.
party leaders. Single file behind them, go.
Ren.
I'll go with Ren.
That's two healers with Ren.
I'm
That's
staying with
right.
Brox then.
Cool.
You two guys will be all right.
Okay, great. So Ren, you got the I guess
Oh, yeah.
not the short stick in that one. So you said
Yeah,
you wanted to go to
the short guy.
the bars first, right?
Really, let's go to the precinct first, just
Okay.
to see if there's anything official. Then we'll go to the unofficial route.
Perfect. You get there and there's kind of a hustle and bustle. It's mid-afternoon, getting to evening time. Hustle and bustle of a lot of the lemon caps coming in, turning in their daily reports. Some of them are sitting in small cubicles. It looks like they're penning down their reports for the day and getting ready to turn those into the lead clerk at the desk. An attendant kind of looks at you near the lead clerk and kind of says, can we help you? Do you have something to report?
Do I recognize anybody in the precinct?
A lot of people have kind of turned over, so you're not seeing as many folk that you're familiar with. But this individual, this attendant, you have passing dealings. They're kind of like an acquaintance. You don't know them. Like once you hear their name, you'll remember them, but like you don't know them by name.
So, but it's not the kind of situation where I'd need to show my badge or something.
He asked you what you needed to report, so he's very familiar
Okay.
with you as a private eye.
Right. So then I would report what we found at Stonechild Park.
A murder
and
victim.
And ask if there were any reports of any large creatures, because there seemed to be, according to my investigation, a very large creature.
Couple dozen, actually. Hold on a second. Moves over to the board and starts scrolling through, and you see that there are several drawings, and he points at them. Do any of these missing folk look like the person you saw at the park?
Recognize
Immediately, you recognize one of them, and it looks like there's a reward for 100 gold pieces for any information regarding the whereabouts of the individual.
Yeah, so
Nice.
Say that. Do I? What is his name, or do anything of his occupation?
The individual is an artist, painter, does a lot of seaside paintings and paintings of ships. which are very, very valuable to ship captains. They like having, an immortal memorialization of their boat in its glory days. And his name is inconsequential.
Okay. So, is there an address where we can visit any next of kin?
It looks like it's being handled through the precinct without
Okay. So
connection.
several dozen people. Is there anything that connects the people together?
The missing people?
Kind of common?
No. There's a missing board. The one that you happen to know where his whereabouts are is the one that we're talking about.
Yes, that was the person we found in the park.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have the reward pulled out if you are wanting that, Mr. Keen Eyes. And you had said something about attacks by large creatures. Yeah, we've been
Yes.
hearing a lot of them. There's apparently a brutish Goliath who's been making a lot of hustle and a lot of hullabaloo in Bearport. And we've been hearing reports that he's been making his way up into Spellmoth as well. We've seen quite a few wounded folk come in through the local infirmaries, and mostly blade attacks. A couple of them made it, but most of them haven't been so fortunate. There's a reward out for the individual. He points to the bounty board, which is different than the missing persons board.
Okay, so I would look at that.
And you see what appears to be a silhouette of a Goliath. And you actually look a little bit closer, and it looks like the artist kind of rendered it with charcoal completely. Solid black skin, black eyes, and you read the description. Goliath in golden dwarvish armor with massive full blade, strange patternings, tattoo-like around the eyes, sunken in eye cavities, solid black irises, um, very temperamental. Last seen heading north to into Spellmoth, around the tower ruins.
Great. And the people who survived, where were they taken for medical care?
So infirmaries nearby, and it looks like most of the information that was gleaned from them has been written on this wanted poster.
Okay, maybe I would just jot down the name of the infirmaries.
Sure.
Excellent. Okay. Do the others have any questions before we finish up?
Just so you know, Joe, you and Vrak went to Tallnumry to get some reading done.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure. Anything for you guys?
We good?
No?
Are we good?
So it's going to take a couple hours for you to get to Red Wheel, and this will put you at nighttime. So you'll be kind of going by candlelight with a scribe into the library, which is perfectly allowed for an associate, and kind of led about to books and such. Your main point of interest is the city of Einkarn and the histories of Einkarn, right?
Yeah.
Here's what you glean about Einkarn. Einkarn was a city that was developed in the Second Era during the War of Sword and Serpent. It was a bastion of a blue dragon, the great matriarch of the Blue Dragons during that war. She's said to have been defeated and buried beneath the remnants of the forest in those lands. Some, according to the notes, margins that you're reading, it's said that this dragon is the heart of Vitalis, the desert, and the reason why it remains barren. Einkarn has been ruled over by a number of different demonic heritaged houses, and some dragonborn houses as well, passing back and forth and side to side throughout all of the houses as they continually struggle over rulership of the city, as it's the only place that is survivable. What's that? Is someone playing music? What was that? Anyway.
Cardi B.
Alright. Hopefully that doesn't get me demonetized. Whatever, I don't know about all that nonsense. Anyways, point of order. it's been passed back and forth between the houses. The longest ruling stint was by an individual named Ashiriad Het, who was an outsider to the world and came in with an army of very necrotically tainted skinned Goliaths, known as the Stone Children, and took over Einkarn whole cloth and became its ruler for a time. He was only ousted when a demon prince was summoned up into the material plane and has taken over the seat. Um, this demon prince has ruled off and on for some time. That demon prince's name is Humbaba. Humbaba is said to reign within the Pyramid of Shadows, which is a fixture, the main pointed fixture of the city. A massive jet black pyramid in the center of the city. It's said it can be seen for miles away.
What was the name of the city? One more.
Einkarn. It should be in the chat for Roll 20. Ainkarn. So I hopefully that answers some questions about possible connections. The other thing you would note too is the Shiriad Het appears to be connected as well. More specifically to one of the Esper Edges.
Yeah, the Spirit Shard, right?
Yeah,
Or is
the
it something
Dream
else?
Shard,
Okay.
Dream Shard,
Yeah, Dream Shard.
yeah. Okay, good studying. Anything else you guys are doing back on Bearport side, 3rd Precinct side, or are you just heading back home?
That's the other guys, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. Did we want to do Tavern Rumors or just go by?
I'm fine doing whatever.
Well, I guess
see
we wanna-
ourselves get.
Go ahead.
I was say I see ourselves getting into a bar fight, but we could do it.
Well, the idea is that if it's headed up towards Spellmoth,
Right.
we might want to check bars more that direction
I agree.
That's a good idea. Yeah, let's do it.
and try and figure out where we might be able to lay in wait to ambush and attack.
You would know the most prominent tavern or tap room is the tap room of the Cock and Thrush Inn, which is just north of the Tower Ruins. You'd also know that that used to be, it may still be, like a haven for idealists.
Does anyone in the other group have the communicator?
Yeah, I do. I have one.
I do.
I would radio Rox and tell him what our plan is, where we're headed, and that we might face trouble, so we could meet up together.
Cool.
Alright. We'll get on the bike and head that way.
Start pedaling.
Okay. The others, you head that way. As you're approaching the Tower Ruins and kind of moving past them to head north to the Cock and Thrush, you would notice that there's a lot of people around the tower. Most of them in the attire of the conglomerate agents. And from what you can tell, it looks like they've already started construction on the tower. Reconstruction on the tower. Looks like they've got about 2 stories and several small buildings outside on the island in the center of the lake that are being used as you presume construction points or like places where the foremans will lead from.
Bullet just flips up the hood a little bit, tries to be low key.
Not remembering that she looked completely different than she used to. But I get you.
Just in case, you know, that uneasiness.
The fear lingers. I completely agree. Perfectly fine. So you would notice that there seems to be activity present there. From this great distance, you can't point out any specific individuals who might be leading that effort, but you presume that there's probably a Magier on site. That said, you make your way to the Cock and Thrush. As you're kind of heading that way, you pass by a couple of buildings, couple of low-lying areas. You can kind of still see the remnants of damage from when the undead Magier kind of caused problems. The door on the outside that led down underneath into the underground marketplace still blasted out with black marks kind of ringing around its outside. But you make your way into the tap room proper of the building, not the downstairs, and it looks like it's decently lively. A couple of folks. You do see that there are a couple of individuals who bear the white mask on their belt, and they don't seem to be hiding it, kind of brandishing it, kind of openly, not concerned. And everyone's just kind of milling about, doing their thing.
Go ahead, Ren. You're the expert at this.
I'm the expert at this?
Villette sidles up to the bar and asks the barkeep if there's
Hey.
been an...
Yeah, how can I help you?
Good. How are you doing this fine afternoon?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad.
Fine looking thing coming in here. Huh? So, what can I get you to drink?
Oh, what would you recommend?
Oh, well, I mean, are you looking to have fun, or are you just wanting something to quench your thirst?
Give me something that excels in flavor and is enjoyable to the tongue.
Uh-huh. That sounds well. Okay, I'll get you something right away, little lady. Reaches behind the bar after fashion, comes back up with a bottle. Looks like it's Elvish wine. Pours you a glass.
How much a glass?
Pours you a glass.
Okay.
That'll be two copper.
Oh, why, certainly. And I pass him 3.
Ooh, okay. Takes the coin, shoves it into a box up behind the bar.
Have you heard any... I heard any craziness about some Goliath running around causing all sorts of mayhem in the
Uh-oh.
area.
What are you talking about? You're talking about the Reaper. Yeah, lots of craziness. I don't know why you'd be interested in seeking death, lady. It's not a good idea. Yeah.
Oh, seeking to avoid.
Oh, well, then you probably head back south. Rumor has it that the Reaper is just walking all about. A couple of folks think might be some sort of enforcer for the conglomerate. They say his blade's as big as a door.
Oh
And
my.
he's very deadly with it, so they say. Caused some problems for the night sharks too. You see the idealists kind of who are paying attention kind of go back to their drinks.
So I'd be safe here then.
Oh no, yeah, here's fine, I guess. I don't suppose he's gonna walk through the door or anything anytime soon. Just at that moment, the door slams open. You see kind of a hulking figure, and the shadow kind of looms for a second, but then you realize it's just Brack. And Brock's got right behind him, walking in.
Nice.
Nice. Nice job.
Great, John. Great.
He's short.
So-
though.
It's true. I ain't a hulking figure.
The shadow cast.
Just looks that way with the sunlight coming in through the doorway behind me.
because it's sunsetting.
It's one of
Yeah,
those.
yeah,
It's a silhouette-y kind of
thing.
optical illusion.
Yeah.
So while Valette is talking to the barkeep and after the others come in, I would quietly fill them in on what we learned about the Goliath.
Okay.
So the barkeep said that in Spellmoth it's more in Night Shark territory currently.
No. It sounded like he's saying it's more in Spellmoth territory, and then the idealists were kind of paying attention. Like, it sounded like he was kind of saying, like, the idealists aren't doing anything about it. But then he made a caveat from what you could tell that was like, oh, the Night Sharks got it too, kind of deal. It was kind of like a evening out the playing ground, so it didn't sound like he was making fun of the idealists.
Oh, okay. Because he's not an idealist himself, but he knows
Yeah.
his patrons, and so he's trying to keep them happy.
Right.
Gotcha.
Business is business.
All right. Cool. Well, Valette thanks him for the drink and goes and tries to sidle over to a table with some white masks if they allow her.
Just as that's about to happen, the door slams open, and you see a hulking figure looming inside the door frame. And in walks an individual. It's not a Goliath. Just seems to be a big guy. He's got a white mask, and he walks over to the table you're about to sit down and sits down with them. You move to sit with them as well?
Yes.
Great. They look at you and say, "Can we help you?"
Yes. I was wondering if you might be able to offer me any advice on where the Reaper is.
You're hunting the Reaper? Small little thing like you? That's not gonna work. You should head back to wherever you came from, little lady.
Well, I have strong friends.
Yeah, well,
I think you know one of them.
if you're trying to get him killed, then go for it. But I wouldn't suggest it. They say the Reaper is killer. Nobody knows why. He just does. It's a surprise that the Lemon Caps haven't got a hold of him yet. Put him in jail. Put him behind bars. Shackles or something.
Well, if he's as strong as you say, maybe they can't do anything about it.
I find that hard to believe. There's got to be something that can be done about it. And then the big guy who walked in, who's sitting there, he goes, "Yeah, something's got to be done about it."
That's my type.
So, would you fellas, if I am able to do something about it, make it less of a problem for you fellas,
Look,
would there perhaps be any compensation involved?
no. Look,
That's
if you're wanting to get yourself killed, I'll tell you the secret that we know. A lot of the sewers in these parts have been too warm or receptive to us ever since we had a problem a while ago with that. If you want to go and find the Reaper, the door out back, the one that looks like it was blasted open by a fireball, head on down there. Shouldn't be too far to find him. From what I understand, there's a trail of destruction that'll lead you right to him.
I thank you for the information.
Have fun. Got anything you want to leave with us? Just so you don't lose it, if it's worth anything?
Valette offers to buy them all some elvish wine. That's all she's going to leave with.
We're good. Thanks, though.
I'm not too afraid of making it out of there alive.
Well, good luck.
Alright, boys, let's go get ourselves killed, eh?
Do it.
Yep. Valette joins them and lets them know. They say through that door, fire bolted, and down the sewers.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
Without Sam, right?
Yeah, we're not waiting until next week to
Well,
do this.
So,
Yeah.
I'm going to wait. I'm gonna use the communicator to radio Sam and tell him
Okay.
our plan, so he can hopefully teleport. He can teleport
Sure,
and
probably.
meet up with us. Yeah.
Okay. So you guys
Or we'll all be dead.
Yeah. Whatever.
head
We'll
off
take our stuff.
into...
Just so you know, I'm missing 20 points of lay on hands because it's still the same day as teleport shenanigans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Gilbert's probably missing some 4th or 5th level spell slots, whatever it was for teleport.
Yeah, look at that. I'm missing some health. That's hilarious.
I have 2 healing potions, including 1 superior healing potion.
And I don't have my owl. Oh,
I have
this is
some
gonna be
Vice
good.
built up.
Let's go.
Yeah, I have no 5th level spell.
I'm on board. Let's
Ready.
fucking do it.
Ready.
and
In character, I
no
don't have enough fucking
Okay.
impulse control.
So you go to the back door. You open it up. It seems to be kind of hanging ajar. just beyond the door, maybe 10 feet or so, there seems to be like a descent, but blocking the steps, you can kind of see like 2 steps and then kind of a block. There are a bunch of pieces of wood that look like they've been kind of wedged into place, like shoved into the frame. And some of them look like they've been kind of pinioned into the walls with pitons. On the boards, kind of written in 3 languages, Common, Elvish, and Dwarvish, it says keep out. But you do notice that there's kind of like an egress. Looks like someone is taking care to kind of open up a point in the low portion that someone who's kind of narrower can crawl through.
Someone who's narrower, Gilbert.
Yeah, it sounds like a
Well, no, I
setup
mean
to
like
me.
like a lithe elf could do it. But that's probably
why
a
I said
size.
Gil-
Dwarfs,
Why is it?
normal dwarfs probably might not be able to do it, but Brogscar is a bit scrawny. So it looks like everyone here is small enough to muster their way through. I think Brock would probably have the hardest time of it because he's kind of like just a boulder. But yeah. In you go.
Yeah.
Who's
Completely
going
pitch
first?
black on the other side. If they have problems with that, let me know.
I
Like
got
pitch
dark
black,
vision.
that even dark vision wouldn't work, correct?
Dark vision will work. But
Okay.
like
Cool.
pitch black, if you don't have dark vision, you're gonna have problems. I think the only one who has problems here is nobody. Gilbert, you have dark vision, right?
Not in the
Yeah.
session.
Yeah. Well, he just
Our
put his
human's
mask on,
gone.
so he'd be fine. So what you can see is that it descends down, and it looks like it leads to open door, or portal, that leads into a much larger chamber, from what you can tell based on the sound of it. When you kind of descend down to that point, this room would look familiar to anyone who was at the marketplace when it was attacked by Brazil.
Hey!
It looks like the place has basically been scourged clean of everything. The place used to have like market places and the like. The only things that you see in this place are just scraps and bits that have been kind of left behind. Parts of old tables that have kind of been left to rot in that time.
It's a shame what they've done to the place.
It's a very large hall. If you kind of take some time to maneuver around and find out what options are available to you. Who was down here, by the way? Was anyone actually at that? Villette was, okay. So you remember where the tents were, where like the main dudes were located? The place where Razik basically beelined it to go and blow up? There appears to be kind of like a tunnel space behind that might lead into sewers proper. The dwarf immediately understands directionality now that you're underground, and he realizes that directionality leads you south, apparently back towards the tower ruins. There's another point of egress out that appears to be kind of like on the western side. You don't know exactly where that would lead to, but presumably the river. And then there is a passageway that kind of leads northeasterly.
So this was where Lycan killed Vrazik?
This is where Vrazik attacked Conglomerate Marketplace.
Oh, okay.
But it was Vrazik after his death.
Right. I think we should head north because that's the direction that we were told the Goliath was moving.
It's fair.
Sure.
Okay, you said south?
No, north.
North. Did I get... Oh, northeast.
Didn't you say north was the direction that the Goliath was moving in?
From where you were coming from, which was the south. It seemed like he was heading towards the Tower Ruins area. Because to get to the Cock and Thrush, you had to pass by there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Go that way then.
So south. Is that right? Okay. One
Yeah,
second.
that seems to what you're saying.
Sword and shield out for Villette. Head of the party.
Yep. I'll get ready. Pick and shield.
Sword out, shaft of the party.
I don't care who. Pick a party member and roll a d6.
That make Rockstar the
4.
balls.
All right. Give me a second. All right. So as you enter into this space, you kind of walk down for a bit, southwards. And this passageway, it seems to be like a sewer tunnel, but it doesn't appear to have any kind of like sewer or sewage or anything to that effect. And then you come to a point where it hard, sharp turns and kind of comes to a point that seems to kind of cross section across your path, but it kind of arcs into it at an angle. It looks like the path that would continue off to the east is very narrow, very low, and kind of goes beneath stone. And then the passageway to the west, it appears to lead not too far on until it comes to a point where it meets a intersection. This new passageway that you're basically entering onto, there's walking platforms on either side of a bisected position that kind of descends down about 15 feet. And inside of that 15-foot kind of recess or channel, there's about 5 feet of like nasty green water kind of moving through this space. It's not moving at a very quick pace, but it is moving. It's clearly moving. So again, off to your west side, you would see that there is a intersection. And bear with me here. Let me try and get this right. My mappy maps. Come on. Thing's taking forever to load, sorry.
In looking at it, would I be able to tell if the creature has been through here?
There doesn't appear to be any signs of any traffic. I'm going to leave your Esperedges off until combat starts. Should be on the bottom right corner of the map.
Yep.
Is it highlighting through walls or no? Shouldn't be.
I'm
Okay, good.
seeing a decent bit, but I think it's because of where I'm located at the corner.
Yeah. The dynamic lighting's in place. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So it looks like there's a passageway that leads to... You'd be on either side of the waterway, whatever side you want. But as you come to this intersection, and let me get it on the map for people viewing. I need to figure out how to get like a second person who just handles the video part. Get me a whole team. But yeah, you see that the passageway leads to the north. There's a passageway that leads to the south, and passageway that leads to the west. But based on your presumption, if you were to continue heading for the tower, based on what you know, you would continue heading south. But that said, it does look like there are some pathways that might lead into crevices here in the sewers. No keen sign at this juncture that shows that there was a Goliath moving around and about this area. It may be the case that he didn't enter through the same passageway that you did. Well, it's clear that he didn't. The doors or the boards were still up.
Right.
South it is then.
Yeah. Does the water
Sure.
look dangerous? Is that
It
pool in the
looks
center?
filthy, and the center portion, it looks like there's more of a bowl to it So whereas the channels that lead up to that center point are about 15 feet deep, the bottom of the bowl is probably closer to 25 or 30 feet deep from your position on top of the ledge there. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So 10-foot head start, run, jump.
Okay. It's perfectly fine. South is the direction you want to continue heading. You're not going to investigate the nooks and crannies of this section.
Do we want to investigate, or should we keep heading south? I'm fine with either.
Let's just go south.
You're asking the wrong person.
I don't want to try to like parkour over to the other side.
Perfectly fine. No problem. Okay, pick a number between, or roll another d6, and if you roll a 4, just roll again.
5.
Saves me the trouble of having you roll again. Alright. Bear with me here. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. As you continue on for a little while, you can see up ahead, you're on the left side of the tunnel, or the channel rather, heading down. It looks like up ahead there's a dead end on your side, but it looks like on the opposite side of the passageway, there's freedom to move. Continue on. I'll pull you to the map. Should be in the top north portion, middle. Strange thing you note here is that on the side that you're on now, there does appear to be footprints, but they don't appear to be booted or humanoid.
What do they appear to be?
You can roll a survival or nature check to try and determine that.
You got
I'm
it.
not trained in survival or nature, so
I am. I think Frack is too.
You'd also note that there appears to be kind of more open stuff to the south. It just doesn't appear that there's a direct path that leads along the sides, so you'd have to climb down into the channel. The water actually being a little bit higher in these parts, probably something you'd have to kind of swim in or wade through if you're tall enough to continue on in those directions. So, what did you get on the
Who's
nature?
Oh yeah.
Kevin,
Yep,
what did you
I
get?
could do it.
Nature roll.
Yeah, let me roll that. Hang on. Sorry.
I'm not trained in it, by the way.
This is survival. 26.
26, really good. Whatever it
Oops.
is, it appears to have kind of taloned kind of feet. Looks like they have 4 toes, one of them being a larger toe. And from what you can tell here too, it looks like they have webbed toes, like a fish kind of webbing.
Oh. It's Chund. Oh, Chud. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. That's what it is.
So again, the options that are available to you is you can go through this kind of break in the wall on the west side that you can see as you're moving in, or you can get down into the channel itself and wade down south/south east. Your call.
And we think that the tower is which way?
South. Not exactly which way south, but yeah, south from where you started.
All in favor of staying dry? Raise your hand.
So I say so.
Okay, so I know there are 2 party members that have a strength of 8. I'd like the 2 of you to make athletics checks as you're trying to jump from side to side.
Oh wait, I have a 10.
10 will clear the cover. You can get across.
Sweet.
Ooh.
Oh no.
So Broxar kind
Okay,
of,
so I can't. Go ahead.
you cannot do cartwheels. You'd have to go down and then up with the acrobatics check. Athletics is
I rolled a
jumping.
9.
Okay. The 2 of you, more so Broxcar than the other. The 2 of you end
Oh,
up.
is athletic? I'm sorry. Is it athletics?
Yeah.
So I get 3 plus 3. So yeah.
So yeah, you're fine. So just Broxcar kind of jumps across, tries to outstretch his foot, but in doing so, kind of tilts his backwards. His foot hits the ledge, and he kind of does one of these whoop, slips over himself, and splashes into the liquid. It kind of breaks your fall a bit, so you only take 1 point of damage. But the thing that everyone immediately notices is that large contact with the water causes ripples up and down the channelway and makes a very loud noise that kind of echoes back the way you came and down the hall.
Awesome.
You're
Does
laying in the
anybody have
water, kind of getting your foot. You kind of grab onto the loose stones on the side to kind of get yourself grounded, because you're only about 4 or so feet tall. Big though. Well, not as big as normal dwarves. You're a scrawny boy, but you're kind of getting a hold of the ledge there, and as you do so, you hear kind of this sound in the water. When you look south, you see 2 kind of like weird figures moving in the liquid, and they splash up with fanged mouths, clawed hands, and strange implements of murder in their grasp. Go ahead and place yourself adjacent to Ren, but in the water.
How far down is he?
15 feet, but he's at the top of the water, so yeah, about 10 feet. You certainly can't reach down and grab a hold of him.
Maybe I could.
I mean, if you're...
I have a grappler.
yeah, I guess you could shoot him with a grappler, that's fine. Let's see.
That would actually be awesome. Grappler him up.
So these creatures look like bipedal fish with kind of sharp teeth. Just nasty looking sewer fish.
Maybe they're sad that they're so weird.
I mean,
We should make friends with them.
I guess. And they will get a surprise round before we get into initiative in their attacks here. Your armor class, Joe?
18.
That's not too bad.
You're not bad.
I mean, you are. You rolled a 1 on that jump.
Well, yeah, dude.
And a 0.
It was the worst of times. It was the worst of times. Alright, they're going to attack you with, go ahead.
Do I, with my feral instinct, get to go? Because I can't be surprised at the beginning of combat if I'm not incapacitated, because
Yeah.
I'm a barbarian.
That is accurate.
So shouldn't we be rolling initiative and, like, doing that? Because surprise rounds aren't a thing in 5e?
No, you can't. Does it say your party can't?
No, it just says that, like, I have initiative on advantage rolls, and if you are surprised at the beginning of combat and aren't incapacitated, I can act normally on
Okay.
the surprise round,
Perfect.
but I have to enter my rage as part of my action before I do anything else.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let them get a surprise round. if I so if I can get the initiative jump on them,
Yeah, so they're
like
still technically getting a surprise
Oops.
round, just not against you. So select your token and roll.
yeah, I forgot to select it. I thought I did. My bad.
Do barbarians get it? When do they get advantage on initiative rolls?
Just that.
Level 7.
Okay.
All right, and then everybody go ahead and roll your dice. Get on there. But yeah, Brack will go before the fissioning.
Yay! I rolled terribly again.
Hell yeah.
So they're about 10 feet down, in the water, and
Can I reach them from the ledge with a swing?
you'd have disadvantage because you'd have to get down on
So
your
if
knee and
I-
kind of get in there for a power sweep.
Yeah. But I can move to like there and swing on this one, right?
You'd still
With
have
disadvantage?
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then if you recklessly do so, it would be with advantage.
That's
so
what I was gonna do.
Yes.
Exactly. So that just cancels out to
Yep.
normal.
Take the
Cool.
shot.
Thank you.
And you are
25.
raging, correct?
Yes.
Okay, roll damage. Alright. As it pops up and it looks like it's about to bring its bite down, Brox, you're kind of seeing just this mauve, fishy face. And then it kind of just flies at you and turns sideways and slaps, like the head does. And then you realize that the body is still kind of flying past you as the fish head slaps against your face. The two parts dissected from one another fall into the water as the other one will continue on its initiative and perform. Oh, you have a second attack, but you won't be able to attack.
Yeah, I'm not gonna move. Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
I don't know if I can like hold it for when they come into range and swing that second attack. I don't know if that's how I can end my turn.
No.
Okay.
To ready an action is an action.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
So the other one will bite. It will do so successfully with a 19. You take 2 points of piercing damage. Oh, he got you. You're dead now. All right. That'll be it for the surprise round. Roxcar, you're on 20. And while you're in the water, this high water state for you, you have disadvantage because you do not have a swim speed with your attacks. What would you like to do?
Swing with fury.
Go ahead. Still hits.
7.
Realizing that he might have made bad choices in his life up until this point, as he gets hit with a second attack, he kind of looks at you awkwardly in fear. Looks like he's pretty much on the verge of retreating.
Good.
Frack.
Man, I got nothing to hit him with. That's wildly unfortunate. I guess I'm just gonna let that rage go. I think seeing him pretty much fucked up, there's nothing else I can do other than to like get ready to hit anything that comes into range.
Okay.
So if anything comes within 30 or 40 feet of me, I'm gonna charge it and kill it.
You mean not
Cool.
the water though, right?
If I can avoid the water, can I make that jump if something shows up over like here?
No.
Okay.
Wait, what's your strength modifier?
Plus 5.
Yeah.
I have a 20 strength.
You'd need a running start to make that jump.
Can I back up and get a running start and jump over there?
1, 2, 3. You need a 20-foot head start. Your speed is 40, right?
Yep. So I could go.
You could-
I
You'd
need
move 20.
20 and then 20.
Yeah, but you need to move 20 to get to the starting position. Then you need to
Right.
move
So 20
again.
from where I am here. That air. So I'd have to go back. I see what you're saying. So
Yeah.
I'd have to dash in order to pull it off.
But you don't
but-
have an action. Oh, you do have an
I
action.
could ready. Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Never mind. My life-ending strike with Osofune.
You're good. Are you passing then? Just readying to attack
Um,
something if it comes within range.
yeah, if something comes within range, I'll
Okay.
kill it. But
Lord
that thing's
Kurgatson,
gonna move.
your rage would end.
Alright. Seeing this fishy creature, I think I would move forward a little bit and point my hand out at him and launch a ray of frost at him. Try to
Okay.
put him on ice. I
Yeah.
like my fish on ice.
Take the shot. You do not have disadvantage.
Doesn't look like I hit it.
Yeah, it's a
I
swing and a miss.
rolled. Yep,
Roll
I
a
shot
d20.
it. It goes wide. I think that's all I'm gonna do.
Roll a d20 for me.
Oh, roll a d20.
You
Oh, okay.
fumbled.
Yeah, I will roll a d20 for you since you asked. Let's see. What the heck? Hang on. Sorry. D20. I'm going to roll a 1, which would be bad.
Okay.
Nope, 10.
Yeah, you don't do anything weird. All right,
That's
Ren,
good.
you're out.
Yep. Seeing that the fishy guy is hurting pretty bad and Rox, you seem to be doing okay, I'm just gonna fire my short bow.
Draw your short bow and fire. Okay.
Yep. I rolled a 10.
No, that misses.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. Seeing the situation as it's playing out and realizing decisions were made, but poorly, it's going to go ahead and take the disengage action, and it's going to retreat with its swim speed of 30 back the way it came. You would see it kind of trail off southwards, kind of disappear into the shadows. It looks like there's a bigger cavity there that it's kind of entering into. Okay.
Tell my big brother.
Valette, we'll cycle out through the entirety of the initiative so we kind of have an understanding of where we're at. What would you like to do?
Will sheath judgment, get a rope out to help Roxgar up the side.
Okay, so there's now a rope descended down. We'll go ahead and step out of combat. And Broxgar, with some assistance, you kind of tie the rope to yourself and have Valette do most of the pulling. Drag you back up to the top. At this point, you have a couple of options. You can try and run, jump, and set up a situation where you continue on southwards, the same direction that the fish people, the Kuatoa went, or you can go through this break in the wall there and find out what's going on.
Can I just do that run jump without a check with my 20
Yeah.
strength?
You can.
So I'm gonna do that.
Okay. When you hit the other side, I need you to make an acrobatics check.
Oh boy. 17.
Perfect. You hit the ground. The floor is a lot slippery, more slippery on this side. Once you hit the stone, you kind of feel like your feet are about to give out from under you, but you very quickly, deftly move yourself forward and kind of hunch into a ball, and then kind of rest your hands against the stone as you come up to it, instead of slipping and sliding into it. Okay.
Cool.
Once on the other side, you can see that to the west, there's nothing. To the east, there appears to be another passageway intersecting the one that you're now on, and a bridge that leads northwards. To the south, you see a very massive and open pit filled with water, very large pool. Every so often, you think you see a glimpse of something move in it, and you also see kind of, it's not very clear, but you can tell that maybe 30 or 40, maybe 50 feet down, you're not sure, gauging the direct, the exact nature of the distance is hard here, but there appears to be a hole at the bottom of the bowl, and it seems that water is either flowing up out of it or flowing down into it. You're not sure. There's just a lot of like white water kind of coursing around that hole at the bottom.
I'll shout that back to them.
Okay, you're shouting echoes throughout the entirety of the halls.
Don't care. We made a bunch of noise fighting off those fish creatures. We've blown our cover.
No, sure, I'm just letting you know. Okay, you that are on the other side, Broxgar's hefted back up onto the ledge, there's the option of jumping across to try and catch up with Brock, or you can go through the wall on your side. And again, I say that to just to explain it. It looks like the wall just continued its course, but it looks like someone broke out the wall, and there's a passage or a room on the other side.
I would want to check the room out.
Okay. Entering the room, you see that there's a staircase on the far side, away from you, that leads up about 10 feet. The ceiling in here is about 30 feet high from your position. It's probably about 20 feet high up from the top position. And there's a lot of dripping going on in this room. The ceiling appears to be kind of covered with very short, and in some cases very long, stalactites that look like they're kind of just hard waters, basically calcified. These needle-like points on the top of the room here. There's also a lot of this calcification on the walls in this chamber, and it looks like on the broken portion that's kind of fallen to the ground, and all throughout on the calcification where the water's kind of pooling on like patches, you can see like groupings of spiders, little tiny kind of almost white in color spiders that are just kind of hanging out, nesting, and looks like they're eating small insects, waterborne insects that have kind of made their way into the dripping pattern here.
If I look into the shadows, do I see bigger spiders or just the small ones?
Just little tiny ones. Yeah, it's like very, and they're like itty bitty, like you little tiny spiders. Not very big. You're just very perceptive, and you notice that these little things have basically taken. This is their environment. This is where they live.
Is there any sign of foot traffic?
No, not really. Make a survival check. There appear to be footprints, but you can't tell which direction they go. They do appear to be booted, but you're just not able to make them out. It looks like they've kind of slid around in them.
How big are they?
Human size.
I would just mention that back to the let across the way.
Yeah, you're also not sure how old the footprints are either.
Okay.
All right.
I think we should go potentially go this
hold
way.
on a
There's no
second.
water here.
Hold on a second. So Ren, as you're kind of turning and saying back to the group what you saw and kind of moving towards the door.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, bear with me here.
No problem.
Ren is liquefied.
Does a 23 hit your armor class?
Yep.
You kind of turn and look that way. Whoever's at the door, if you're looking at Ren as he's talking to you, you see something come out of the shadows behind him and kind of just snap around him and kind of wrap around him very quickly and just kind of drag him into the shadows behind him. Just as
Oh
you
boy.
realize,
And I guess I couldn't see that attacker?
correct.
Okay.
Your passive perception wasn't accurate enough, and you didn't ask to look specifically at things I was mentioning.
Okay.
But just near the door up on the top portion, you see it as it drags you up into the air. It appears that one of the stalactites that was kind of connected to the ceiling in the back wall isn't a stalactite at all. It's a roper. And you're dragged up to its narrow eye beating down on you and its massive maw. With the tendril attack, it can tendril, reel, and bite. So yum yum yum, I'm eating some Ren. 24 probably hits your armor class. And you
Yep.
take 21 points of piercing damage. As it snaps its tendril down, grabs you, lifts you up, and just onto your shoulder.
Okay. Ouch.
Alright. Let's go ahead and start the initiative chain.
Help. Let me put the trap.
Just a minute.
Hey, I rolled better this time.
That is better.
Oh, and by the way, you weren't surprised by that because you weren't even close to involved in that, Zach.
Oh, finally.
So, let's see.
Cool.
All right. Um. Okay. Broxgar, looks like you're first. You can kind of see just inside. Your dark vision allows you to see. So, at this point, let me give you kind of an idea of what you're looking at here. Okay. The room's probably about 20 feet wide. It's about 30 feet tall. Hanging from the ceiling, probably about 7 feet or so, is this massive lump of what appears to be stone. But you can also see that a bright red eye is opened, and a big massive teeth is now just soaked with a bit of the blood of Ren, as it snapped down and grabbed him with its weird tendril, and made a tentacle movie out of this scene. So it's got him and is kind of chewing on him. And so it's that engagement's about 25, 30 feet above you if you were to step into the room. What would you like to do?
I want to walk in.
Okay. You see him?
Did you say the roper is about 30 feet up?
It's hanging upside down from the ceiling.
Got it. All right, I'll step in and come to the corner and pop 2 shots off.
Okay.
17 and a 19.
1 second. Okay, that's a bit more accurate, I think. 17 and 19 both miss. They both hit the stone shell of it, but you see kind of just like this pop of dust where it hits, and it doesn't seem to pierce through its stone-like hide. Again, of course, the sound of ringing out, but I'm going to have... No, nobody would be adjacent to you. If they were adjacent to you, the ringing in here seems to be kind of deafening. You're used to gunfire, so it's not going to cause you any problems. Maybe a bit of a situation later where you have to kind of stick your finger in your ear and mop to kind of get the ringing to go away. But everyone else is far enough away that they're not going to get deafened by it. All right. Valet?
Trying to find judgment on the... There it is.
Okay.
Alright. You hand judgment over to Broxgar, and Fury changes into long-barreled rifle. Hey!
Do you want to use your reaction to initiate with him, Brox?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, how does this change? Does this change because it mentions fighter stuff in Alma Paladin?
Oh, does it really still say fighter stuff? I thought I changed them all for
Your fighter level damage, so Paladin level damage.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll fix that later.
Alright. Cool. So yeah, I hold out judgment to get blasted since I don't have ranged attacks.
Blade shot. So he hands judgment over to you. You place it inside of the changing of the weapon and shoot it. So Broxgar, make a single ranged weapon attack with Fury. Miss.
No.
On a hit, it deals damages if you hit with Judgment, and if Broxgar hit with Fury. The attack also deals an additional damage equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level. Valet, hit or miss, teleports adjacent to the target.
Alright.
You can teleport beneath it, you'll fall about 5 feet, you won't take any damage. Because it's 10 feet and it's 20 off the ground.
Right.
Or 10 feet and it's 10 feet off of the top level. So you'll technically be on this top level up here, yeah. Alright.
Oh, like right here. Okay.
Yeah. There's like 2 levels. There you go.
And so from here, if I were to like jump, could I be able to hit it?
Yeah, so you'll make attacks at it with disadvantage if you're doing that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're trying to jump and hit it. It's not exactly the most opportune swinging. You're not swinging from a solid platform.
Right, but it's better than not
Nothing.
being able to hit it at all.
Yeah. Brock, You hear commotion.
Yeah.
Make a perception check as well.
Thank you. 21.
You also notice a lot of forms moving inside of the pool that you're just near.
Oh, great.
Maybe 10 or 15, you're not sure. You think they might be coming up out of the hole.
Fuck yeah. Vrak is gonna step to here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna square up. Don't worry, guys. I'll take these 30. You get that, like, 1. So I see a lot. Does it look like they're gonna stay under the? I don't want to jump
Have
in
you
there
ever
and get
seen
them.
the Transformers animated movie?
Not since I was a small
Then
child.
I can't tell you what it looks like is happening.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Perfectly fine. So you are readying an action to attack
Yeah.
anything that pops.
Yep.
Cool. Kurgosler.
All right. I cannot see from where I'm located. I can't see any of the things
You'll
that
need to step forward a couple of
Brack is
spaces.
seeing. Right. Right.
You
and I'll
certainly
move
can't
forward.
see those, no.
Right.
No,
I
but
hear-
you see me focused in that direction, even though there's a bunch of commotion this way. So
Yeah. I'm
You
gonna
know.
say, Brack, you might want to pull back to over here, because there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in here. There's some sort of monster. That's got
there's a whole bunch of stuff happening out here too, brother.
That's what I'm saying. Pull back to here so we can be closer. So I'm gonna take a shot. I'm gonna take a shot at that.
Okay.
Whatever that is. Roper, but I don't know it's that. I don't know that's what it is.
Yeah, we can call it that.
All
That's
right.
fine.
I'll take a shot with. I'll do Ray of Frost. Why not?
Go.
Ray of Frost at it. Come on, guys. Let's hit it.
It's a miss.
17. Does that hit?
No,
17 does not hit.
does not.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right, that sucks. Well, wait a minute. I will see what else I want to do. Do I want to do any more movement or anything? Or
I am hurt.
So
yeah, you are hurt. I could healing word you, couldn't I? No, because that's another cantrip. All right, I'm gonna have to wait till next turn to heal you, buddy.
the
Hang in there.
The roper has you grappled on your turn, Ren, and let me explain to you the details of this specific type of grappling. So the target is grappled, the escape DC is 15 to break. Until the grapple ends, you're restrained, and you have disadvantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. And I can't use the same tendril on another target. I have a total of 4 tendrils I can use. So that's the math portion of it. So if you wish to try and escape it, you can either make an acrobatics check or an athletics check on their base ability scores to try and remove yourself from it as an action.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try with acrobatics.
Okay. Go for it.
I rolled a
You break
17.
free. Because of your position, you'll fall a total of like 7, 8 feet, not too far. With that acrobatics check, I'll say you just kind of hit on a knee and kind of do a little bit of a roll next to the ledge. Unless you're trying to fall to the square you're currently in, I'd say you'd want to land here. You don't want to fall off the ledge, you want to fall on the ledge because it's a shorter distance.
Fine. And then could I use my cunning action to
To what?
leave?
Disengage?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then you can move your 30 feet. It's just a hop down, 10 feet down. So just go ahead and make me another acrobatics check for that. And then pop off. This is the falling damage one. So yeah, you more than resist it. So you kind of roll down, roll to the side, kind of press against the wall, kick off of that, roll off the edge, drop down, hit the ground, and roll again. And then you can continue moving. I think you still
I'm
have
just gonna move
25 feet.
right beside Gilbert, so maybe I can touch him.
Okay. And get around the corner too. Cool, cool, cool. Alright. The roper, kind of confused, like, with all that. 2 tendrils fly out to the 2 targets in the room. One against Broxgar, one against Valette. And Billet, 18 misses, right?
Correct.
And Broxgar 15 misses, right?
Yeah.
It's just tentacle time. It's just slap, slap, slappy, slap, slap. I want you. Give me that. And nothing. No grabs. All right, Broxgar.
Shooty shoot.
Sure.
Braxcar casts gun.
That's up.
That's a misfire.
Yeah.
So the gun jams. The second shot won't go. Unless you want to pull a different gun and shoot it.
You can shoot judgment now, right?
You mean Fury?
Fury, right? My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a gun now.
Do I use the dual tech stat?
No. It would Fury should have its own range attack roll now. So yeah, it would be the same thing. It's gonna do damage as if it hits. It should all be in the card. Yeah, that'll work. Damage. 11. Okay.
11.
Well, it looks like you actually finally hit it. Kind of pop it across the side of its cheek near the gum line. Pretty solid target from what you can see. And it looks like it starts bleeding out of its mouth. So now it's kind of a mix of Ren, elf blood, and this weird kind of deeper red that it's bleeding. Alright. Billet.
Alright. Jump slashy.
Sure.
17. And
Roll a d20.
a 1.
He has inspiration. Can you use that?
So
I rolled a 1.
he does have inspiration, but he has disadvantage. So he swung with the first one and didn't use it. He swung with the second one, and if he'd used it then he'd still have the fumble. So with the first attack you kind of are getting past the tendril that's attacking you, and then you finally kind of realize you have the grounding and jump up and swing. As you swing that first attack and you come down and hit the ground, you like brace wrong, and then you try and jump up and swing again, but your footing was off, and so you don't go as high as you think, and you go a little bit farther forward than you'd hoped, and your sword kind of stays up there behind you as you kind of try and hit your footing and kind of just toss the sword over your shoulder. You hit the edge of the ledge and tumble down, slamming into the stone below the ledge. So you're now 15 feet below it, or 20 feet below it, and you take 6 points of bludgeoning damage. Your sword is still up on the top of the ledge.
To clarify though, due to my aura, it's only 3, correct?
Right.
Okay, cool. I love that aura.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All
Alright, so I have to run up some stairs and get
and-
my sword.
One more thing.
And I'm prone.
You're prone, right.
Right. So how much movement was lost in all the jumping, swinging, falling?
10 feet.
10 feet? So I stand up, and that's half, so I have 5 feet of movement left.
And there's a staircase just around the way there, on the left to you. So you can
Can I go like that?
Yeah, you can start the staircase.
Okay.
Alright. Brock.
Still nothing in the water. Nothing's developed in the last round.
There's a lot of movement, but so far nothing has popped up.
I don't have time to wait for these stupid fucking frogs. I want to
They're
hit
fish.
something. They're frogs.
They're fish.
I don't know the difference.
They're water.
So I'm gonna move there,
Okay.
and then I should be able from here to do like my. Oh
Run
no,
jump.
is that only? Yeah, that's the run and jump
Okay. Are you
over to
taking the dash
here, but
action?
that's gonna cost a dash action exactly.
Okay.
So that should be. I still have 20 left
Hold
with
on.
my dash, right?
Hold on. Make an acrobatics check. You're leaving
Ah.
slippery and hitting dry ground.
Yeah.
Oh god, I hope you roll a bad. This is be funny.
12.
Okay. I'm gonna make it not funny and just to the point. 15 is the target number. So you'll take 4 points of damage as you slip and bash into the wall, kind of with your shoulder.
Good.
If you
That's
rolled
more
less than
damage for me to hit him with.
if you had rolled less than a 10, it would have been you and Gilbert ass over tea kettle into that channel.
Good thing that's not what it is.
Too bad that's not what it is. All right. So you
So
still have movement though.
I should be able to get to there, right? And hit
Yeah.
that fucking thing?
Well, it's up in the air.
But can I hit it?
Not from that ledge. No, you're at the bottom
Oh,
level.
okay.
The ceiling is 30 feet up. It's about 7 feet tall. So there's currently about 23 feet between you and it.
Yeah.
Well, between the ground that you're standing on and it, rather. So unless you have like a 6 or 7 foot vertical, no.
How is
Actually, you have a
vertical?
You have a 5.
How is vertical jump calculated? I have 20
It's your modifier.
strength.
It's your modifier.
So it's a 5-foot vertical with a great sword. There's
Okay.
a strong possibility I should be able to hit this thing
For the lulls.
with a disadvantage.
For the lulls, I'll let you take an attack with disadvantage.
Fuck yeah.
Go. Oh, that's
18?
So you jump, like you run in, you're like going full sprint, moving around the gnome, bashing your shoulder into the wall, spin around. You see the thing up there, and you're like, you're trying to do like the equations. You jump and you hit the ledge, or like the wall between you and the ledge. The wall that the ledge is.
Yeah.
My brain works. Jump off of it and kind of swing with your sword, but it's like inches away from the stone, and just the needlepoint tip of it kind of like scrapes across the stone, causing a shower of sparks to kind of spark off of it. Close, but no cigar. All right.
We know it's AC now.
And you land fine. Kurgosler, you're up. Crazy half orc runs past you.
All right. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on Ren
Thank you.
because he doesn't like being hurt. I understand that. So I reach out. I'll do it at level 4. Oh, you know what? I don't remember. I like add something now to my healing, but I can't remember what it is. I think it's my Wisdom modifier. I don't think I put it on the spell, did I?
Don't you always add your wisdom modifier?
It's like something additional based on my Esperedge.
Oh, cool.
It's a new thing, I think, unless it didn't happen yet. 18, anyways, to you.
Okay.
That's without anything added. I don't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up. See where I put it. I should have this, you'd think.
The Esperedge adds to his healing.
Yes.
Pretty sweet.
Oh, it's probably on my Esperedge.
Yeah.
Like handout. All right, I'll look that up. But so far 18. I think you get a few more. So that's an
That's
action.
awesome.
As a move, I'm going to move down here. Wait a minute here. There's a bunch of fish coming. Oh, I'll still move down here. I'll keep my eyes out looking for fish monsters. And then it'll be whoever's next.
Ren.
So that monster doesn't look very smart, right?
You can make your own determinations about its intelligence quotient.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that it's not very smart, and therefore that it really can't see me, that didn't sort of track me. So I'm going to
Okay.
pop into the hallway and fire my arrow at it.
Sure.
I will be 17.
You see it hit dead on. You're like, yeah. And it just kind of settles there. No blood, no nothing. Just stuck in the shell of it. Okay. That was on Ren. It'll go to 3. The Roper will. I think I have 3 delicious targets. Yes. Snap, snap, snap. Tendrils go flying. Ooh, baby. Alright, so first attack was against Valette, 21.
Miss.
Second attack was against Broxgar, which would be a 15. Miss. And then last attack is a critical success against Brock. So as you hit the ground, you're like, yeah! And then, ooh, scoop! I'm gonna bring you up to me. How about that? And then I'm gonna bite you after. So it's tendril, reel, bite.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
It didn't rage.
No, you didn't. So you'll be
Ooh,
taking.
no, you didn't.
I rolled a 26 to hit, and I do 19 points of piercing damage.
Cool.
However, No, hold on. Let me do some math here. What aura range is 10 feet?
Yes.
I'll allow it. You're within her aura.
What does that mean?
You take 3 less damage, right?
Yes.
So that's 16?
Let me double check something real quick. Yeah, their attacks aren't magical. Okay. Yeah, 16. Oh, another note too. Just,
Thanks for filling up that damage pool, John. Needed it.
No problem. Another note, real quick, just so you understand. The tendrils, there's another couple of methods for things here. You can attack them, the tendrils specifically, to try and break them. They regrow, though. They're immune to psychic damage, but all of their damage deals it. And then you can try and force break them if they're not on you, or if you're in them. Make a strength check to try and snap them. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the good part. Ren and Gilbert, a swarm of activity bursts from the south side. You hear as a bunch of fish people just jump on the scene.
Awesome.
I guess we're doing this, Gilbert.
All
How
right.
many
Yep.
other? Whoa,
Let's do it.
7?
If only we had a wizard with an AOC attack.
And one of them looks different.
Alexandria
And
Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah, AOC, yeah. One of them looks different on the far south. Is that
Whatever.
right,
There's
Josh?
two that
Oh,
are
that one
different.
looks different.
Anyways,
Oh yeah.
Gilbert, the first thing that happens is the one that's down here, closest to you.
Yep.
You see this kind of sprawl of like a weird thing kind of get lobbed up into the air, and as it kind of goes over top of you and comes down, it gets really big, and you notice that it's weighted on the ends, and it's a huge net that just
Sounds like a
descends on
net.
top of you, and
No.
you're caught in it. So you are currently netted. Nets you're restrained while you're in the net, and you can use an
Awesome.
action to try and break it. You cannot weasel out of it, it doesn't look like. You can also try and slash it with a slashing weapon to try and cut it free. Other people can also help you with that.
Okay. Cool.
All right. The other ones are all going to throw spears at you now that you're restrained.
Okay. Fair
Since
enough.
you're
I would
restrained,
probably
I
do the
get
same to them.
advantage.
Fair's fair.
Yeah. But that's all's fair in love and war.
Yeah.
This is gonna hurt me more than it hurts them.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
All right. So 5 spears go lobbing towards you. Your AC is a 18 or 17.
17.
Okay. Hit, hit, and 2 misses. So you're taking 10, 15 points of piercing damage as these spears kind of sink into various parts of your frame.
All right.
And then the 2 big ones.
That hurts. Good thing I have that necklace.
Mm-hmm.
Gives me our amulet, I should say.
Okay.
It hurts. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, when it first attacks me
Mm-hmm.
and it causes damage,
Yeah.
I believe I can use an effect. It's called Fade Away. Let me click it for you,
Yeah, I
for
know
people at home. I know, you know.
Yeah.
You know it.
It's your channel
So basically,
divinity. You're going to
yeah.
teleport away.
I'm going to teleport 60 feet away.
Yeah.
That's all. Then they can attack me when I'm 60 feet away, but
Well, they're
I'll
gonna
at least...
all throw at the same target. So you'll be taking
Yeah.
the first damage, which would have been 7 points of piercing damage.
Okay, 7. Alright, so then I'm down to 71. And then I will teleport... Wait, how much can I say? 60 feet?
Mm-hmm.
That's not far enough to go to. I'll go... I'm gonna go up north here. Hopefully I'll be out of their range and they won't, like, see me as easy.
No worries. All the attacks land near you, Ren, and you think that, based on the hunch of it, you think, Gilbert's obliterated, but then you just look down and that he's not there. And as you're kind of realizing that you've been left alone out here in the hallway with them, I would like for you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Okay. I rolled a 19.
Okay.
Nice.
As you kind of, it's actually a dexterity saving throw, but that rolls more than enough. That's fine. Sorry. As you're kind of
It's even
seeing
better
that,
I add 6 to that.
yeah. As you're kind of seeing the situation, you see that the one in the back kind of raises this weird, sickly-looking staff, and this beam of kind of necrotic energy drops down from the sky. You kind of move aside, and it dashes into the stone near you.
So the one in the very back?
Yeah. The one that
Okay.
looks different in the back.
Yeah.
It appears to be some sort of caster. Based on its look, it probably some sort of shaman or priest. Alright. And then the one directly beneath you will... where's my stick? Hold on. Be the one... Oh my god, this thing is lagging. Sorry, bear with me here. Alright. Does a 19 hit your armor class, Red?
Just.
Okay. The creature kind of reaches up with this strange looking staff that appears to have kind of like a crab claw made of metal at the end of it. It reaches up and slams it against your leg, and then you see the claw portion just onto your leg, and then it pulls you down with it as it moves away. So you kind of see that dead Kuotoa, you're on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah. He kind of moved forward, threw up the stick, and then backed away, pulling you down with him. You are now in 5 feet of water near parts of a dead Kuotoa, and this other Kuotoa has you latched with this pincer staff. Alright.
That's uncool Atoa.
I gotta cancel the game, you guys. Game's over. I can't run it.
Bad joke.
That's the one that crosses the line. We've been playing this game for fucking years with all of the goddamn puns that have made me want to put a fucking pencil through my eye, and that's the one.
Fair go.
That's gonna fucking.
It.
I quit.
You can't quit, Zach.
Oh
I can't quit you, Zach.
boy.
Huh. Anyway, so I'm gonna give you guys I'm gonna give you 2 options here. We can continue this fight right now, or I can pause it here and we can have the dramatic Sam enters after this round. Your call.
Oh fuck, let's have Sam enter.
I'm really like dragging right now, so I would
Same.
vote for the dramatic Sam enter.
Okay.
Yeah, me
Anybody
too.
else?
I'm tired.
AoE would be so nice
Okay.
right now. So
Because
tasty.
I feel like with the melee options that you have available to you, this fight's gonna go on for a while.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I didn't think so.
we'll be starting the next initiative round on Broxcar's initiative at the top of next session. And I'm going to move you guys off of this map so that you don't try and move around and stuff.
Cool.
And I'll go ahead and kill the stream. Thanks for watching if you were watching.
Thanks.
Thank you.